Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ghost here, joined with the one, the only, the gentleman's fellow. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Today we're going to have an exciting match. We're going to be starting off with Kitura versus Danger Doodles. If we can actually switch over to the, I guess the challenge brackets real quick and give you guys a quick little summary here, as we're actually going to be hopping right into the game. Never mind, we're going straight into the game. Just a quick kind of summary. Global Breakout versus NBC kind of went as you expected. LCG versus Gnomes. Gnomes took that, so it's going to be Gnomes versus Global Breakout here around 3:30. Yakuza versus Kitura. Kitura actually took that 2-1 yesterday, so this is the match we're going to be taking a look at against their opponents. The winners between Danger Doodles and Nakaduma. Danger Doodles took it 2-0, so this will be Kitura versus Danger Doodles. And we're already hopping into the match here. Again, this will be a best of three. Let me check the challenge. Yes, it's a best of three. Starting off on Operation Helios Horn for Kildome.
Yeah, and I did not know I knew like half of the team on the attack, actually. I did not need to go scurry through Steam to go add somebody
You just kind of
randomly.
mass invite everyone and then just hope like one or two lands, and then you're good to go. That's the strat, really.
Right, yeah. Guess I will learn that in due time, apparently. So, run Kildome, like you mentioned, Ghost, and I mean, we did only get a few brief moments to go and actually get a look here at what's going on in terms of color and, the whole game style here for the defense, as they managed to get into a queue time a lot faster than expected. So we'll probably be able to deep dive a bit later in the matchup, but for the time being, it's probably going to be a lot of action here in this first round.
Absolutely, absolutely. And nothing too wild and crazy, actually. Usually on these large maps, shout outs to Saber Shark with the big maps get big guns, but we actually don't have too many superpower weapons. We got a couple KRs and Igmars to go around. Of course, you do have Jet on the Saber. Jet, kind of the team lead, or the dedicated gamer boy for Kitura, as they make their way here into pit, which is kind of surprising. Usually when you see observation or castle, that's kind of where the players are going to want to play around and or try and get control of. But it looks like they're actually going to be potentially going. Let's take a look here. Yeah, it is going to be a power play for the attacking team.
Yeah, they just kind of let the attack get power quite early. A lot of map control established very early on. This is going to allow Jet to get some nice sightlines there with the Saber as well. And it's only a matter of time before they cross the bridge, try to find some nice pickups here, as they've got plenty of flashes to work around, and a lot of time as well because that early map control. Gravy will get the first blood, actually drops into Swamp. That's a huge first pick here. A Molly gets tossed as well, but it's not enough to actually deal any damage. You're able to pivot away and just kind of keep back for a little while. It does burn through some seconds on your clock overall, but again, they have all the time in the world to kill, but that's not a great nade play. That's a unfortunate TK, and now we're in a 5-on-3. This actually might be a pretty bad setup here for the attack.
Well, unfortunate TK, but on top of that, it was also the shrapnel damage, because I think he threw it, and the wall said return to center, and yeah, now it's just, oh god, that's painful. I mean, right off the bat, my biggest concern was pushing through this little area right here. You have this massive, absolute monstrous choke point that the teams are going to play through. The grenade really did not help that situation. Oh my, oh my. Yeah, Jet also losing Saber. Of course, that means the defending team is going to have now Saber and Mop for their next round here, which is, well, it's not the end of the world that they have it. I mean, depending on the title set, again, we can, once we get a chance here to take a look at it, we'll be able to kind of break that down. But again, having Saber on the defense is always nice, because now you can be a bit more aggressive. You can kind of roll some dice. We're going to have Kill House and Factory. So again, Kill House, a little bit on the smaller side, but let's take a look here. So we do have a breezeway, which usually means we're going to have an open space. But taking a look at the stats here, well, I'm kind of surprised that we don't see a negative in terms of damage on Sinister for, well, I guess that 60 damage is probably from friendly fire, so I don't think it really calculates all the damage, but that's not really a good way to start this series here.
No, not at all. And you talked about the aggression with the Saber. I feel like one of the main driving factors of that is because you don't have to reload after your first shot. You're granted a second chance instantly. What?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay, sorry.
Mop versus Sabers, the power of the Mop is, if you can get a headshot, it's a one-shot, one-kill sort of deal on the attackers. But the problem is, you have one shot. It is pure risk, pure reward.
Yeah.
Saber, I'll just put, 3 down the range and then hope an attacker or defender decides to peek again, and then you're good to go. But in this case, they've got both. They can be really flexible, and you can see that already. Marbles with the saber. Oh, okay, no, he's actually going to be using the mop. We didn't get a chance to see how much ammo was dropped as well, but Gravy going to be on that Gravy train with that auto shotty. Probably sitting somewhere where we can kind of expect these, really close quarters fights, maybe through office, or maybe even sitting inside kitchen.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you said something other than yeah, so I completely just starstruck there in that moment. But that's all right. Get all the awkward moments out of the way in the beginning of the matchup, and then we can get towards the serious stuff here.
Well, here,
For
what
the
I'll do is,
attacking, yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Okay, for the attacking side, it looks like Kitura, they're opting to potentially go in through the back red door, getting
Mhm.
control of club early on, and I don't blame them. That is probably the easiest way to get into the site other than using, a wall charge into one of the fenced off areas and going into breezeway. That's kind of a more direct approach, but it can be quite risky. But it looks like they're also opting to go in towards reception as well. A split take, always love to see it, especially on Clubhouse.
So they did this kind of cute little they quiet steps towards the towards red door, and then they debate that there's a bunch of people going office. But now the two guys that they actually want to have reach red also kind of sprinted back. So Gravy's still in the right position. He's good to go. He actually backs off, which is kind of quite surprising. There is still a grenade for the attackers to utilize, so they're gonna. Oh, that Molotov was clean. Oh, that Molotov was so good. It completely stopped the aggression here from the team Kitura. Adaxi holding down this angle actually got Merchant while that was going on, and now Dylan with the shotgun. You really can't push through the Adaxi, so you have to wait until the attacker trying to get the way through, but Gravy comes in and at least trades off with Roach, and now it's a 2-on-3. Again, Mop still sitting in Breezeway. Might be able to come down and support, but he needs to get over here to support his team. At this point, it's a 2-on-2. Marble's kind of just playing around with time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for Danger Duels, they just all played their part quite well. Gravy was able to allow the attack to funnel directly into him with the full auto, and then there was no pressure established inside of reception. Dylan falls as well, and it appears that Loaf will also meet his maker by Marbles, who finally stepped up and managed to leave the site to go get his frag of the round. It's 2-0 already for Danger Doodles, as they are doing phenomenal here in this first set.
Also want to point out that grenade that was brought into Kill Dome was actually left. So Adaxi was able to pick that up. And taking a look at her stats here, yeah, Gravy really kind of popped off, of course, with that auto shotty. Marbles, I mean, all you got to do is click ahead and you get basically a guaranteed 125 damage. So, I mean, we're pretty much seeing exactly what you would expect from that kind of a round. I mean, what's kind of fascinating here, just based off of these stats alone, though, is that we don't really have much damage on the Kitura team. I mean, obviously they've lost 2 rounds, so you'd kind of expect something on the lower end scale. But I mean, we have Jet and Dylan. They haven't even made their presence in the game. They're still at 0. I mean, that's not even like a bullet of damage that has gotten across. I mean, just shutting down players like that is monumental for keeping the momentum for your team as well as driving it into Operation Jupiter Grand here on Factory.
Yeah, no ugly factory, as everyone has coined it that,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Although, we know Donut put his heart and soul into that map, and he did say openly he didn't want it to be a competitively viable map, so I guess it's a pretty self-explanatory tile
So why
set,
isn't
dude,
it
so.
here? Very opinionated about that. Well, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see his new creation is the word I'll use. I don't want to say abomination because then
What,
I'll
on
probably get added
Factory?
by Donut. You'll probably come and find me. But it's I kid you not. Basically, it's what would happen if the silos and walkways broke and the entire main floor became toxic goo. So visually, it's a very beautiful map and it's wonderful to take a look at. And then you try and play on it and you go, oh, this is an entire walkway that I have to just walk down and pray a mop doesn't kill me. Yeah, all right, this will be fun. Let's just see how it goes. And
And
then when you're trying to push in against like Global Breakout, Yakuza, TBD, rest in peace, Kitura, all of these absolute gamer teams out here, and it's like, well, I guess I'll just die then.
yeah, we got the privilege of getting to cast that
Oh, you
literally
did? Fantastic.
round one of the first best of
Whoa.
3 matchup. It
Nice.
was so
Nice.
defender favored because nobody knew what to do. You basically had like one guy play up in fan, and then everyone just ran green and hoped nobody defended it properly. And 99% of the time, you'd have to still funnel through barbed wire once you leave through the green room, which was, I think, server or storage, and then you would just die probably by a mob. So it looks here from, yeah. It was incredibly tactical indeed. It looks like we are going to have a server play, though, by Kitura. They're already rushed inside the building. Some utility being used quite early on. And, oh god, there goes the wall charge. Down goes the Daxley. I'm expecting they were probably prepared for that here. Pipeworks. Oh, not at all. It's a 5-on-3 off the rip. It's only a matter of time before Marbles gets flushed out of office, but he'll manage to bring one down before he meets his inevitable maker, and that will allow him to get a little more room to breathe here potentially. Gravy gets one off screen. Dylan now shuts down Marbles. They have office control, but technically we're in a 2-on-2 as Roach is nowhere in sight. He's looking to grab a better weapon here to be more impactful later in this third round, so that will give plenty of time to prep here and make sure that the defensive side of Danger Doodles can just play for time potentially and really not overexpose themselves. Gravy's on such little HP, but he'll still win that fight with the Ingmar. Down goes Dylan. Both Gravy and Ty are one shot away from meeting their doom, and if you look on the other side, Loaf and Roach are still at full HP. One shot, and they'll be able to win their 1v1 confrontations, and they still have plenty of time left to get that defuse down on the bomb. Ty will fall. It's just Gravy with the Ingmar playing in a rat position, and I'm not too sure if the attack is fully aware as to where exactly this defender is located at. They'll go for the drop down. It seems like they know pretty damn well, and Gravy will now be felled on top of that too. Plenty of time left to defuse, and we'll finally get to see Kitura's first round here.
That was very nice. It was I was kind of curious as to why they decided to door breach server farm, but you know, it kind of worked out. That brought the wall charge in. It seemed almost like sorry, I was kind of looking at my notes here. You know, as they were trying to hold off the aggression, you know, you had a Daxi more or less kind of playing by himself. I know that we had who was at Marbles probably watching the blue door, but after that wall charge kind of broke in, and obviously kind of created a new paradigm that they weren't really prepared for. And then it was just one player got caught out, then one player and a half got caught out, and it was just constantly, it was never a 2v1 situation, which is normally what you want to have on the defender's side. So really just kind of, it was on the Danger Doodles to try and get creative with that one. Again, they had both Saber and Mop to utilize, so it's not like they couldn't have just, you know, said, hey, we're going to stop here. You don't come through this door because I've got two guns that will absolutely destroy you. They actually only brought the Saber.
Moving back into the same old kill dome we saw a few rounds prior, the biggest issue for Kitura when they were playing on this tile set on their attacks was they ended up just funneling in through jungle. Merchant highlighted that, and if we see that happen again, that's going to be an easy win here for the defense. Funny enough, that will now be Kitura. So potentially opting to either just insta-flash before mollies can get prepped in towards the top of that bridge area, or going around potentially into OBS and just sacrificing more utility. That might be the better play, because the fallback potential here on this tile set is huge. Unless we see a potential backside take in towards OBS, that might actually work out here for Danger Doodles, but that is still a pretty big commitment.
Absolutely. And honestly, that's kind of just how you explained it perfectly. That's just how the teams need to, both teams need to kind of play. Defenders obviously know that they just need to slowly try and bleed and let these guys come in from observation and from that kind of absolutely monstrous choke point that is this bridgeway. And attackers need to know how they want to try and push in. We can already see that they know after how this went, they want to try and push observation, which I think is a great idea. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room. I mean, obviously, it's still two massive kind of funnel points that these teams are that the attackers are going to have to go through, but it's a lot better than having 1, 2, potentially 3, maybe even a fourth gun looking at just one. You can try and get a little bit more creative with your game plan. Now, what's interesting enough here is we're already seeing that Kitura isn't actually shooting out the windows here from giving you that kind of line of sight into bomb site, which is, again, I love talking about the different teams and how they like to play. As soon as Danger Doodle spawned in, went straight for it. They were knocking out every single window. They wanted to get it. Merchant's going to be our point man to let the defending team know attackers are going to be all rolling in through beach. But the question now is going to be, how do these defenders handle this?
And it looks like they'll have to try to stall this observation take. Ty will be in charge. Here's the Dax as well. They just run through the molly. It works out perfectly. Down goes one. There's a refrag as Ty will now fall. Loaf is trying his best to hold off this onslaught, but it's not going to be good enough to find a second here. 4-on-3, favoring the attacking side now. Danger Duels have gotten a great lead so far. All they need to do is burn through these last couple of mollies and make sure they don't get their heads ripped off by a potential mop, but there's no mop in play. It's an Ingmar, a Gruber, and then a Knack. attack. They can honestly just play for range here, Ghost, and they'll probably be all set to win out this round, and they also have marbles going on a rotation into pit. This is a damn near brilliant setup done by the attack.
No, absolutely, and this is, again, as I mentioned, night play. Here we go. Now this makes the whole thing even worse because there's, what, one flare on the bridge over here. So this attack is going to be coming in almost completely invisible, and of course, as they say, that power is back over. And here we go. Here comes the attack. Two defenders left here on the bridge. Make that one. Dylan, the last man standing. He's going to actually hide inside the smoke. A little bit of cover. He's going to try to go for the bomb. He does have still kicking and fighting. Got enough health to make the magic happen. Chip after Boom, but no, Boom does bring the doom of Dylan. And, excuse me, again, I wanted to point this out. They didn't clear the windows, so as soon as the attackers came in, they were able to count, okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 players are still up. We know exactly where all of them are. And so it just came down to making sure that they had the right execution and prep time to figure that out. And again, with like a minute and a half to go, they had almost an hour to think through it.
Yeah, and I think turning back on the lights was honestly just a gigantic bait against the defense, because at that point, if you're going to go for a lights play, I feel like the defense is almost expecting more of a presence up into pit. They're like, oh, they've slowed down their attack. They're going for a rotate in a pit because they just hit the lights. Then they turn it back on, and then they weren't expecting as big of an emphasis on the top of observation. So if that is what Danger Duels were expecting, that was a pretty nice play overall. But even with lights on or off, I don't think it would have made much difference because all the attack had to do was just play for trades because it was a 4 versus 3. And especially as an attacker, if you can play for trades, that almost guarantees you a round win put in the right hands.
No, absolutely. And I think it really comes down to that early aggression that we had seen from the Danger Doodles team. They rolled in, and I mean, as soon as that barbed wire was cleared in observation, they just sent it. Now, thankfully, that Molotov was a little bit well-timed, so it kind of divided them. But once they got in, they didn't stop. They're like, check corner, dead man, check corner. Okay, one guy died, but we got him. It's fine. And literally just off of that initial early aggression, they were able to capitalize. And then again, they cleared observation. They had line of sight. They were good to go. It was killing time. And after that, it was just another day. What's the phrase? Day on
Another
the
day at the office.
Day at the office. Thank you. Another day at the office here for Danger Duels. They just rolled in, and it was no problem for them. But it's Operation Lotus Scepter here, back on Kill House. And already Lockers play instead of a club, so already kind of switching it up, playing more towards the bomb here is Danger Doodles.
Again, a big emphasis here on reception. You always need to consider how far away reception is from the bomb itself. Now, it is across the entire map, but this tile set in particular, it's a really small kill house in my personal opinion. So it's not that big of a deal. You only got to clear through a couple of rooms, and then you can just have someone watch the flank as well. So it's still beneficial. And we're going to have that red door play up into Clubhouse as well. There is no full auto player that's incredibly aggressive at the moment. Maybe he'll rotate around when he hears the audible cue, but it's just going to be that mid AK player of Love just to at least place down that bar, maybe have a teammate back open a molly potentially. It looks like there's a bigger emphasis on the bomb itself, and that's where Jet with the full auto could really start to kick it up a notch.
Yeah, no, I definitely like this new decision, excuse me, here from Danger Doodles to go for club. I was a bit worried because obviously with lockers you have all of this, it's kill house. Basically every wall is wall bangable. There's the crack. It looks like the players are going to go ahead and set up. Jet definitely going to be sitting here in kitchen. I don't really mind this, but I would like to see him a bit more aggressive, just because that auto shotgun, as the attacking team comes into kitchen, it just makes it a little bit difficult, even if you get a pick, to try and get, capitalize on it. Get another one. Because, once the auto shotgun starts going, you're pretty much having to hug the attackers to be able to get any real sort of damage done. Now, that's, of course, unless you're chrome trigger, you can make the auto shotgun work from, half a map away. But already, we've got 3 attackers here, 2 in lockers, 1 watching from outside breezeway. Roach going to have an absolute mountain of a job here, as he's going to be the only person on site. The entire other, the rest of the team is in opposite club, not in position.
Oh man, this has been a huge oversight by the defense. The full auto will manage to go down as well. Boom will pick it back up instantly. It's just a heyday here for the attack. Boom will manage to trade against 1. It's really not enough though for Lopio to break this one back. This will be confirmed by a Daxi, and the entire defensive side will fall instantaneously. The play around in a breezeway worked wonders here for Danger Doodles as they go up 4-1.
You can see Roach even talking about it with his line that I threw here. He's like, guys, what happened? We were stacked up, in this giant, this wonderful office club kitchen setup. And then Jet probably would have done great, but I was watching Roach's camera as those flashbangs came in. That entire room became flashbanged. No one would have survived that. It's not on Roach for trying to, hold down three different players, or even Jet for being in the wrong position at that point. That room was gone. Anyone in that room was dead. And as those attackers rolled in, there was really not much they could do. At that point, it would have been a conversation about how can they retake the site. And at that point, the guys coming through Clubhouse were like, hey, it's another day in the office. Let's make it happen. And they just started cleaning house. So, I mean, again, great just heads up play here by Danger Duels being, I always love to see kind of the play style of each captain, the flavor that they bring in to do process. And this 1-2 punch that we've been seeing from Danger Duels has been absolutely phenomenal. First, it was setting up inside observation, giving them a second, then capitalizing on bomb. In this case, they pushed into reception. They opened up Clubhouse, but then they actually flowed through Breezeway. So again, this timing that we're seeing from them is fantastic.
Yeah, understanding the weaknesses and the openings that they can take on their attacks have been pretty much top notch so far in this first half. So I'm hoping to see more of that, honestly, because it's been really working wonders for the Danger Doodles. They had a couple of issues on their defense, but it seems like they've been able to kind of sweep that under the rug as they were able to transition here. The sixth round, we're back on Factory, and it looks like we'll actually have a dock play, which I don't really hate, in all honesty. If you can get control of Cerber, you have potential to maybe cut off some of the angles near the top of office. And if you want to get frisky, you can actually go for some smoke plays, cut off some extra sightlines, and maybe go for an aggressive defuse. It's definitely possible, but it is a huge risk. You always need to take that into consideration.
Well, it wouldn't be a game of due process without a little bit of risk, but I
Of
do agree.
course.
I think I like this call here to go for power. It is kind of, besides Kill Dome, the most viable because obviously the only other map is Kill House, which sadly doesn't have power unless you're playing on the Halloween map. And while I don't particularly mind it, obviously you have this really nasty choke that you're going to be kind of trying to flow through. And as long as Merchant is moderately cognizant of the risk that he's at, as long as he plays back and then plays into either office and has Dylan support this other green, they should be okay. Now, of course, they're running the risk of the power play, and there is only one. I see two players getting thrown, so there's all right visibility, but office is going to be playing off of that security light. Obviously, this green door is going to be extremely important to make sure that they don't allow the Saber to have any sort of vision. Merchant's going to go ahead and start putting a couple rounds down. Adaxi's got himself a grenade, which is great, and that grenade does absolutely nothing because it bounced off the ceiling. And they're going to make their way through here with not too much. A little bit of utility gets used on both sides, and Merchant loses a bit of a mag, but not the end of the world. Power does get hit, and here we go. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing here the door charge get utilized as now all the defenders have been kind of drawn like monsters to the plane on this boiler. Molotov, great response here. I believe that was from Loaf. And already these defenders are doing a great job of just kind of slowing down this assault.
Yep, just falling back, knowing when they have to just peel away, and it's working wonders for them so far. They get that first pick, Adaxi ends up falling here, but now you have dock control. That could be a bit of an issue here so far for the defense of Kitura, but they've, again, just been able to fall back, and they realize that they have the man advantage. They don't need to do everything over the top. Loaf will finally fall, though. It's been a full confirmation here that dock is in the hands of the Doodles. They just have to push back dock, of course. They need to get up into the railing, start getting aggressive, maybe trying to go for a flash play, or just utilizing the fact that they have the better sightlines because the lights have been turned out. You also have Boom up top as well. That could maybe deny some pipe work play as well. Tile managed to find a couple of frags here in the background. Merchant will end up going to the wayside here. So it's a 3 versus 3, but there isn't a lot of time left. They have to get aggressive to shut down these players inside of pipes, and it works. The tag team by Gravy and Flume will actually net them a pick, leaving just Jet alive here by themselves inside of Cerber. Gravy will now have to fall back and end up going for that defuse, and there isn't really much that Jet can do except try to wide swing potentially. No one's here to cover the plant, though. Gravy has no time left either, and the fallback, it was just more than enough. They really forced the hand of the Doodles there, and they're actually able to net a second round here, Ghost, before we go into the second half.
Jet was in, I have to say, the most opportune spot in rest in peace. But I don't know if if you saw it. I don't know if you had him on the camera, but he was sitting in this absolutely banging green door angle where he had complete vision of bomb, and so all he really needed to do was just stay alive with the mop. And we saw, I mean, as soon as someone touched the bomb, bam, gone instantly. And then Dylan, in the rattiest of the rat, he was such a rat, we thought he was dead. And then, of course, one attacker came by and Dylan's like, "Oh, wait a minute, you're a bad guy." Da, 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 da. And then that was it. I mean, just in the best rat position to be able to go ahead and clear out. And then, as you said, Kitura is able to get the second round here on the board with absolutely beautiful, just kind of organic. I like to call it organic defense. They were kind of this kind of sandwich situation, so they backed off into Pipeworks. Jet kind of pulled himself into Server Farm, and then they held Bomb from there, even though Danger Doodles actually had technical control over Bomb. I mean, that was such great heads up play. But here we are.
Unfortunately,
It is C-Store. We're gonna have Receiver or Ryan. Didn't get a chance to take a look at the other maps here, but of course, a classic of a map. We got this absolutely gorgeous tellers where you can, oh yeah, as long as you have a red door or a red door breach, you can get yourself the button into shutters, and then you can have this entire storefront completely open for you and your friends and potentially your big buddy Saber Boy. And with the storage push, you can easily start to kind of secure a lot of this map. Now, of course, this does come onto the players or the attackers on how they want to play this. We're already seeing a potential power play here from Danger Doodles, so already kind of mixing it up a little bit for our attacking team.
I mean, I do like that idea though, because if you get control of both Arcade and Freezer off the rip, you basically get the whole bottom half of the map, and then that could possibly allow you just to go for some short range engagement gunfights. If there's no full auto on the board, then that's even better for you as well. Then you can just go for a defuse. It's honestly even almost as straightforward as just going for that Tellers play. It does seem like an obvious idea of, oh, we should go Tellers, get shutters open, then we can have a guy just sit outside with the Saber. But there aren't a lot of sight lines here on this tile set where you can truly play with the Saber unless someone is sitting like all the way in the back, either here or here. But the defenders are probably going to be aware of that, so they're not going to want to risk that idea. So probably going for the Freezer and Arcade take is honestly a much better idea, and it's not an oversimplification here that will force the defenders to think extra hard here.
I'm not sure if I agree with the freezers though. That's my only real reservation. Is it will work because they'll be able to get power, but in that case, they need to try and find a way to capitalize, because if one side gets shut down, then the defenders will know all they gotta do is just defend freezers, and you're completely shut down. Marbles and Adaxi have quite the challenge here on their side. Jet, again, going to be kind of out of position as well in terms of overall presence here for this initial opening, but so far the switch has worked. Most of the defenders haven't really been, tapped on this power this final game. There is, I think, one light that is going to be the towers light here. So already we've got kind of the switch and the shuffle going as Foom finally catches Sinister as he was trying to get himself into a good position, but of course Arcade does get him caught off. Jet already starting to get smoked out, and as you had said, attackers, they were able to secure at least the lower half of this map, make that a little bit more than the lower half as they're working their way towards Bomb. Defenders, I mean, you can see two of them trying to rotate, but they're not even aware Adaxi's here. Adaxi does get picked. Boom, he's on the bomb. There's only two players left. They gotta get rid of him. But at this point, it's gonna be too little too late. Every which way, trying to figure out where the rest of the attackers are.
Yeah, that worked out honestly better than Danger Duels probably expected, to be honest. And that smoke play as well, it forced the defenders to basically run into their own demise because they couldn't just sit comfortably in the back of Tellers. They had to make a play, and they weren't given that opportunity, unfortunately. The flank was being watched relatively well. At least the comms were there. So we had a bit of a pivot by the remaining attackers to notice, okay, we know where these last two defenders are coming from. Let's just play for the flank denial, and our teammate can continue to defuse the bomb. That was very well done overall. And that was the big issue with probably going for the red charge door at the very top, is that you are, again, just kind of funneling yourself and choking yourself out at that point. So giving yourself a lot of room on the map, big net buff for Danger Doodles as they will continue to gain this lead up here in the first matchup, 5-2 now.
Absolutely. No, sorry. I'm staring at the stats here that we're able to kind of now gleam into. And I mean, you can just see it off of the damage overall. I mean, Danger Doodles is just kind of netting just a little bit more. It's not a case of like you have one player that's going absolutely nuts, but like right off the bat, you got Gravy at 1,000, you got Adaxi at 800, you got Marbles at 618, Ty at 613, and let's just go ahead and look at the Kitura team. Merchant, right now the highest damage player, 718. Dylan, 660. Jet, 537. Loaf, 439. Roach, 330. I mean, their best player is arguably third for Danger Doodles right now. I mean, that's just the overall kind of confidence that we're seeing out of or the overall gaming that we're seeing out of Danger Doodles. They're just hitting their shots better. They're rotating better. They're just doing everything. It's not like Kitura is bad. They beat Yakuza. In my opinion, probably the second best team right before Global Breakout. They can do it. It's definitely possible for them. But I think we're just seeing now this kind of energy drain out of them as it's like, okay, we just need to get one more. We need to get one more. We're on bank now. Obsidian Fang. They need to play this well. This is, I won't say heavily defender favored, but I've seen them pull some really crazy and creative stuff out of this map in particular, where as long as they play it right, they could definitely do it. But it's going to come down to how well they can handle marbles on the Saber. Foom with an Igmar. Adaxi, he's got himself a door charge and a flashbang. AP 25s across for the rest of the team. How are they going to be able to handle these guys as they work their way through bank?
I feel like the most direct option is probably the best here for Doodles because you almost need to get lobby control. Vault's literally right there, and you have almost a direct access into accounting to hit the switch. You just have to worry about the mop. That's the make or break here for the defense. If Jet can pop off and land his shots, that will keep a majority of the attack at bay. But it appears that the Doodles, they're not going to have all their eggs in one basket. They'll have Ty and Gravy go around in the vents to maybe cut off a couple of key areas of the map, maybe get control of security perhaps because Dylan is playing inside of there. They could also probably take down Merchant and also apply more pressure into Tellers as well. That could force Jet back. The smoke will do that before the vent play even gets abrupted. So you have full control of lobby so early into the round. All you have to worry about at this point is accounting, and already Dylan will fall as well. This is a massive opening so far by Danger Duel. If they're able to net another pick here in these next couple of seconds, it's almost completely over here for the defense.
Dylan, I mean, we always talk. Oh, great shot from Jet, making himself known. But as soon as that smoke came out, Dylan rotated into security, wasn't there to try and support Merchant for these two guys pushing in through vents, and Jet just trying to get him get into a good position. I feel like he's kind of just struggling to find these players right now. Merchant being an absolute bastion, though. He has not stopped one, but two different players jumping in from lone, and is now completely shut down the eastern side of the push. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Jet needs to land this shot. He doesn't. Huge. Boom, now he can do it. I've seen magical things happen from this man. They don't call him MF Doom for a reason. There's one, can he get the other one? He does. Absolute gamer.
How do you let him get away with that? You just gave Boom 1v1s every single time.
How do you explain it? The guy
what was that?
Boom and destruction, dude.
Dude, how'd I just get away with that, man? I killed 4 of them on the round. That's crazy. God.
It's just, he's Foom. It's just one of those things.
MF Foom.
We saw Kitura playing fantastic, absolutely wonderfully on that defense. Jet was trying to get through. He was actually struggling a little bit with his barbed wire here, but then it's like, all right, here comes Foom. What are you gonna do? So how do you stop that? How do you stop a guy from just absolutely clutching up like that? And I want to point this out, right? He went absolutely ballistic. He's currently tied with Gravy in terms of kills, but he's actually third from the bottom. I mean, it's just insane. It's just this Danger Doodle lineup. I mean, Kitura was playing fantastic. The only real criticism I had, Dylan got caught out with trying to check for the smoke, and then he was kind of out of position for the vents push. And then Jet, I respect the fact that he immediately jumped for rotating away from the smoke, but it left him a little bit exposed to the vents as he was rotating, and then he really didn't have a good angle afterwards. So, again, Danger Doodles is just playing around Kitura.
Well, it's quite simple, Ghost, how you don't let Foom win that round, to be honest. It's, you don't give him 1v1s in a 4 versus 1. You don't do that. Fall back. You've been so great at that, Kitura. You fall back naturally, organically, as you put it earlier, Ghost, and you force him to hit the switch. He has 40 to 30 seconds to play around, and that's pretty low time considering you're on bank. And again, 4v1. Just play with your team. Don't give him 1v1s. You know Foom's going to hit those. You know he'll clutch and go big. I really cannot fathom how hard of a throw we just saw by Kitura there on that round. Maybe we'll see a redemption arc in match number 2. I really don't see one happening here because Danger Doodles, they're on top of their game. They're getting away with some nasty plays, and honestly, the mental, if it wasn't chalked already, it's definitely chalked by now after that 4v1 choke.
I don't know if it was a throw from Kitura or, again, let's just say the man's name one more time. Foom bringing the doom. I mean, the guy is just gaming. Like, at that point, what are you supposed to do? Like, the the dust is trying to settle. You still haven't really kind of consolidated as a team, and maybe that's the biggest issue that we've been seeing from Kitura so far. Is just they're not really able to refocus once things have settled down. They're like, okay, let's try and we're on Kill Dome for the first half of this. It's a 3v4 situation. Let's set up. Let's call. Let's communicate. Let's talk. And then they just fall apart immediately. This is match point, mind you. I mean, we've only gone almost 9 rounds here, and we were watching these guys, I don't want to say clean out Yakuza, at least when I was casting them yesterday. But Danger Doodles just making it look like another day in the office. I mean, here comes Beach. They're gonna. I mean, look at this. Look at this respect that we're seeing here from Kitura. They didn't even try and play cheeky and maybe get a Beach pick. 2 players gonna be trying to hold pit. They don't want to give up power. 3 players though are going to try and contest that. And already Marbles in an absolute commanding presence here. He might even see. Oh, he's gonna see one. Okay, no. He does tag Merchant just slightly, but he doesn't kill him. And we still have at least some of defense here. But again, we have, look at this control that is completely given to Marbles. This team is split.
Yeah,
One side has to take control.
And Dylan falls. It's just Merchant. One precise flash landed, that could be the complete end of Merchant. He has the full auto, so if they don't check or flash this corner, then this could actually be a huge play for him. And if they don't have to rip, Boom goes wide, and he'll actually fall to Merchant. In the background, we've got Ty fighting inside of OBS. Gravy managed to get rid of that full auto player, so it's just this back half control. And so far, Marbles and Ty have been able to cut it off relatively well. 50 seconds remain. I believe that was a nade, or it's not a stun call on out. Ty rushes into OBS, but falls to Jet. There is a bit of breathing room now opted here for Kitura, but they only have medium to long range weaponry at this point, but so does the attack. They've got an Ingmar and a Saber. So it's just a poke and prod essentially in these last 30 seconds. A Marble Top will not land anywhere near the attack. Gravy lands a stinker, and it's just Jet left alive. 1 versus 2. He's got the mid AK, so he could potentially do this, but he doesn't really have the best of sightlines against this bomb player unless he swings right. So Gravy's not looking in the right direction. He'll lose that confrontation. It's a 1-for-1 trade, matter of fact. I'll have to eat my own words. Marbles doing a bit of a celebratory dance. He'll get the final round win necessary for Danger Doodles to end out the series 7-2, but we still need one more map to see who can actually bring this one out, or match.
Absolutely. It's not done yet. We saw this yesterday. Yakuza took the first round of Kitura. Kitura brought it back, and then they tied it on the third, and then went into overtime. So they're not done yet. The biggest thing is going to be how they rally on these first couple matches. We've seen it before where you could have a complete like 3 sweep on the first match. I mean, we see it all the time. Global Breakout versus Yakuza. You'll have 3, then 3, then 3, and it's literally which of the defending or attacking team actually makes the mistake first. However, for this, and I really cannot state it enough, it's going to come down to, can Kitura rise and succeed? We saw it with I'm Jet was able to cinch it right there, but Marbles having to go through, or Merchant, excuse me, having to go for that long rotate, literally giving himself, exposing himself to the Saber, and Marbles just controlling the entire site. Now, I was a little bit confused on that last engagement there because we had Marbles on the defuse who had the Saber, which is arguably a bit more powerful than the Igmar. The Igmar watching Jet, who had the KR, so it was a little bit of a scuffle at that point. They made it work. Hey, they got the W.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge? But yeah, I was a little bit, as soon as we saw that split, 2/3 defenders holding pit, and then 2 guys just trying to hold off bomb/observation. Right then and there, Danger Doodles, in my opinion, had already won. They had split the defenders, and as soon as you split the defenders, as long as you can consume one, that's it.
Yeah, they literally chopped the map in half. But all that being said, we will go into a short little break, be back in a few short moments to get the second matchup up and ready to see if we'll have a bite back by Kitura or if we will see another quick 2-0 fashion here on the stream. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the Winter Major here. We have Kitura versus Danger Doodles here going into match number 2. And as both teams are queuing, I feel like there's still a lot to talk about here. From the last matchup, I feel like we could have seen a lot more on the side of Kitura, yet unfortunately it looked like they just had the first match shake, so hopefully they can remedy that going into this next series here. But Danger Doodles, they were just kind of going in, honestly, Ghost.
What do you even need to worry about as Danger Doodles going into this pause, or this this couple minute break here between rounds? And I
I
think the
don't
only
know.
answer is The only thing that they really got to worry about is just keeping that momentum and that hype. I think on one hand, it was a blessing for Kitura because they got a chance to kind of at least break down what might have been the issue, recover, be like, all right, guys, let's just kind of roll into this one. Last game was last game. We've done this before. We've been in this position before. Let's just push it and get it. But Danger Doodles they're just gaming right now, man. It's just another day. It's just another day. It's a Sunday for them, so they're just gaming. We're gonna be on. I think it was C Store was I saw between the
Yeah, Bank, C-Store, and Factory are the first three
Bank,
maps.
C-Store, and Factory. You gotta love it. So already, and this is the one thing, the one little kind of mind game that I always like to see between teams is how they want to play this out. Bank, very large open map. Saber and Mop, pretty good option. But there's also a Factory. So if you bring your Mop or your Saber to this map, you're also running the risk, depending on how the dust settles, that you could lose your power play, your power weapon here going into Factory once you finally get there. And it can either be a free win or an easy L, depending on how these guys, play this map and how things play out. Doesn't look like either team has really made that call just yet, though. Looks like a leg roast here for defenders and the auto shotty. Okay, so I like the idea of the auto shotty, especially with these close range kind of engagements that you can have in accounting, manager, and loans. That's definitely a good call. I like that. But I mean, like, look at this absolute gorgeous long haul that you got here for your defending and/or attacking team. You sit one guy on either side of that. I mean, if you're trying to push into accounting to get towards vault, you can't watch both angles. You have to commit. So if you have one defender covering hall, one defender covering the long side of tellers, you're set. Now, of course, Button is sitting here in tellers, which is actually kind of interesting because the blue door is facing lobby. So our defending team, or excuse me, our attacking team, yeah, you can see it's going to be a 3-2 split. It would be very easy for them just to kind of roll into tellers, get tellers, and then with a double door here for vault, you could easily kind of create this really nice sandwich depending on how your guys at the north do.
So one thing I'm really looking out for here, it's Gravy with that full auto, man. He is in the rat corner. I was going to mention that. I saw the full auto being picked up by Gravy, and I was like, well, there's only two good places to probably set him up in, is either in the vault or in the corner next to lobby. So I guess we figured out it was the latter option here.
Now, this is great. Marbles is causing a great bait here by making them think, okay, there's one guy in lobby, good Molotov is slowing down. Jet's not going to be completely focused on Marbles here, so even if he dies, Dylan, is he checked? No, he doesn't. He's going to wait. He gets one. Gravy could go big. No, he gets... Okay, they know he's there. Do they just throw a grenade and get rid of him, though? Or a flashbang to clear him out? Because, again, Marbles is still playing their support. Here comes one. And no... Oh. Clean him out.
Oof, but Marbles is still alive, though. Able to find a refrag instantly. He's just huddling around the couch, essentially. But finally gets felled by Merchant. Adaxi instead of Tellers will get annihilated by Jet. Ty could potentially go for a swing, but he'll fall back instead. Maybe we'll try to go and play for the vault itself, potentially. They also have a Molly in hand along with the big AK. Boom holding down quite tightly inside of security as well. A bit of a battle going between accounting and teller's room, as Ty will now officially begin to question whether he should go in for the vault play and hope for the best, or try to go around. They'll have to try to bout it out here with the long-range confrontation. Gets rid of Jet. Flash gets popped out, though. It'll force him back. Roach has control of the bomb, but Ty is not down. Up until now, though, Merchant swings into action at just the right time. And again, there's plenty of time left to defuse, so the first round will actually go the way of the attack.
I was a little bit worried because I saw the grenade icon from Roach's player tag, or the tag disappear, and I was like, did he just throw the grenade into manager? Yeah, he did. Oh, okay, and Merchant's jumping in right now? Oh, okay. Oh, God! It's like, okay, no, he's still alive. A huge chip damage on him, but he still makes it. Saber's going to be picked up. I don't know if they want to try and go shopping for that auto shotty. I'd be very curious. I'm a little bit curious by this play by Film. I mean, the security doors are always a fickle mistress, because if you don't have them set up in the right way, you're basically giving yourself to either the attacker side or you'll be able to escape to the defenders. I think he went into the tellers, and then the attackers managed to actually swing in before he was able to rotate, and so he got kind of given to the attacking team, and was like, all right, well, I guess this is my life now, and just kind of fell over. But great heads up play by Gravy. I mean, honestly, I think out of all the positions, C-Store, auto shotty could have worked, but I think in that bank little rat spot was probably the best call for it.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like is probably how trigger happy Gravy got, because I don't think we had Kitura fully array. Yeah. Patience is a virtue there. So him jumping the gun it kind of sold himself out a bit too early there. That
Mhm.
full autoplay could have really worked wonders, and then Marble and Gravy would have just had entrance control and lobby control throughout the entire round, most likely. But going into C-Store now, we're not going to have that full auto in play, obviously, and I think we didn't have the mop in play, so it could be utilized here if you want to try and
Correct.
deny shutters, so that's going to be a point of contention, but you could obviously save it for Factory as well, as that is one of the biggest maps and probably one of the best maps for a mop.
Well, it is Operation Fox Praetorian, a very lovely, well-described name. And yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing the mop here from the defending team. I think they're going to be wanting to save it for Factory. Frankly, this map is a bit of a, I don't want to say it's a bit of a mess, but trying to get a good long angle here for the defenders. The best ones you're going to have here is like this storage play, which even then is kind of a bit rough. You've got this super, you got this super duper long angle here that you could have. But frankly, if you get a wall charge and then you have your Saber guy watching it, I mean, that again, Mop has only one shot that can fire. Saber's got multiple. It's just kind of that's a very dangerous dance. And then again, you want to sit. Sometimes you might even see like you could, if they still have the auto shot, you could sit them and have them swing bathrooms. But there's not really a lot of space for a Mop to really be utilized here. So I do agree. I think it was the best call for them to go ahead and save it for the Factory. And already you can see a lot of close range KR A2Us, Nax. You've got Grubers, and even the unsilenced Gruber on tie. I think this is probably the best loadout that these guys could have brought here for C-Store. And even two Molotovs and no flares. So if they do decide to go power, we'll have to be careful.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a pretty decent emphasis zone trying to stop power. I mean, Adaxi's playing close instead of storage. You've got Foom just all the way in the back, hoping no one detects him inside of Freezer. So, as long as the wall charge doesn't get used to open up those authentication, which it won't be, it's in the back of C-Store itself near the shutters, then that's going to be completely fine. Jet will get the first blood off the round. High will follow a great shot, in all honesty. So, that's a pretty huge net buff. Crossfire is established though by Gravy and Adaxi, both rocking knacks of their own, trying to make sure Merchant cannot get inside the building without losing a lot of their HP. They'll get tagged slightly and know it's far too much danger for them to walk in towards that direction, so he'll go for a fallback to potentially join the rest of his team. It's a dive bomb inside of Freezer. Jet will annihilate Marbles there with the Saber, and Foom will fall, as there's just far too much on his plate for him to chew off, ends up choking out in that position, and now Adaxi has to get aggressive essentially in the background against Merchant, but they just dance around each other through the smoke grenade. Adaxi and Dravian both have to go all the way around in tellers to stop this defuse. There's just far too much manpower on the board at this point. Dylan may fall by Adaxi, but it honestly probably won't be enough here. It's a 1 versus 3. Adaxi with the mad dash. He's allowed one freebie, but now Roach is holding the cutoff. So at this point, I'm really hoping Adaxi can't win this, and he will not. But man, did he make it close.
Like two ships passing in the night. That was adorable. Merchant and Adaxi just kind of give the gamer high five and say, no, it's okay, we won't kill each other, as they go about their business.
Yep.
But I just gotta say, I mean, as soon as that wall charge got opened and then Jet found Ty, I was like, oh boy, here we go. And for a little bit there, I was actually quite impressed. The defenders were holding this very nice kind of like oval shape of the defense. They kind of had lost a little bit of the northeastern. They obviously lost the southwest, but they did a great job at just kind of holding and just trusting each other in that sense, because it was almost like a bunch of 1v1v1s. Foom was by himself. I think those Marbles who threw a great Molotov, and then Jet came towards him in by the they played this like ring around the rosies thing, and then Marbles tried to back off into the bathroom, sadly, instead of trying to contest Jet, and sadly he got picked there. But it was a bunch of like these very kind of one-off situations, which for a while it was actually working out. And then as the wolf pack of Team Kitura came in and just dominated the central area of storefront. Shoutouts to Jet for hitting 420 damage. Now that's epic. And the rest of the team also getting themselves some sweet 200s. You gotta love it. But Team Kitura doing a great job at showing up here for this first 2 rounds, mind you. And again, as I had said, the first couple rounds, it's going to be about rebuilding that confidence, getting that energy and that momentum. Even if they lose 1 or 2 on their defense, that's okay, as long as they start feeling themselves in that drive, as they have to go. Not one, they have to win this one just to tie. They're going to have to do it twice.
Yeah, everything really matters for them at this point, and they've already gained as many rounds as they did in the entire last series, so that's honestly pretty big for Kitura so far.
Win, baby.
Yep, there we go. At least we technically broke even already for the attack. Moving back on a factory, though, we'll definitely see that mop and play. I don't know why you wouldn't want to bring it out here. Yeah,
Right,
marbles will go for
absolutely.
the proper play. There was a whole process of wanting to save it up until now, of course. So,
You can almost say there was
really
a due
wondering.
process.
Yeah, haha, I see what you did there. I hope.
Sorry, shout out to Saber Shark for that one.
Yeah.
Operation Chrono Circus, though, it's going to be a factory. Power up here in the corner. Again, this is usually, I always love to see how players kind of play this area over here. And the reason with that is you need to defend power because we haven't seen them push power. So the logic is they haven't gone for power yet. They're probably going to go for power here. So, oh my God, look at this 3-stack here in server. It's going
Oh
to
my
be Mop
god.
tags one, and then you've got the firing squad to try and catch another one. Easy pick for Daxi. Gets Jet, and that's huge. That's your Saber gone for this entire map.
Oh my Christ. Well,
And
Dell
they
will
knew.
pick it
You
up.
can see. Look how far away Jet is.
That's such a long distance. That mop
No.
really doing damage here, but Marbles definitely had to pay a pretty heavy price. He is one
But
shot
he's
away
alive.
from getting the same fate, essentially. He's still alive, though, yeah. So that's still huge overall for the defense of the Doodles. So while he gets tossed on out, that's going to waste some time. A rotate left to go through. I mean, server farm has not been in control yet. They've got to just blitzkrieg into Doc. Merchant gets the first pick, though. That's big. Gravy able to fend off for the time being, but has to fall back inside the actual cargo storage itself, but land a nice shot onto Dylan. In the background, we've got Merchant picking up a couple of frags, though. He's going big in the background of Walkway. That's a ton of damage being dealt here, and he's able to get rid of Gravy as well with the AK. He's unstoppable for the time being. Boom will finally punish him for his wrongdoings, but he's across the map at this point. It's only a matter of time before we see that diffuser being ticked down, but there's a minute left on the board, and in this instance, Kitura, they just want to confirm this kill and seal the deal here to make it a quick 3-0 in this first set, but Boom, he's just playing back in passive, near office essentially, he's just in the far back area of the boiler room essentially, to trying to pivot around that natural cover. Diffuse now being ticked down. He's got to win that gunfight against Loaf essentially, either that or stop the plant with this incredibly long angle, but Roach is just baiting this one out perfectly, and he's even able to pick up the mop shot as well onto Foom. Plenty of time left once again to get that diffuse down, and it's just a bloodbath on Factory.
I was absolutely terrified from that initial jet pick because that's the kind of thing I've learned the hard way. If you don't throw a safety smoke, you're gonna pay for it. And in this case, they did, but they made it work. After that, I would comfortably say that that whiff from Ty with the Molotov just allowed them to swing in and absolutely dominate the docks. And then Merchant, I saw this yesterday when he clutched up in C-Store where he got one, not one, not two, not three, but four. He four-pieced him, and we were screaming about the ace there as well. Merchant woke up, said hi, it's time, it's rise and shine time. And so close from that ace, so close, but thankfully his team was there to round it out for him.
Yeah, Merchant just going nuky there in that last round. And we go back here to the old bank tile set when we saw a little while ago. The sides finally switched on out. So Kitura will now have to try to carry on that momentum here into their defense now. But honestly,
I love the danger warning.
Yep, be careful, guys. They might they might go for our
I don't know
strat.
why they might have that hunch, but I do appreciate that they're already calling out the risk.
I wonder.
So, all right, Operation Certain Malice. Again, we're going to be on bank here. And already we're seeing actually a fairly similar setup here. You can see the attackers talking about loans, talking about entrance. I like this. I mean, frankly, it's going to allow them to go from west to east. They know anything behind them is clear, anything in front of them is at risk. And it allows their team to kind of work and communicate. Now, the question, and obviously I don't think that this is the most optimal strat, is how do they want to try and handle these tellers? Now, obviously they need to get some control over it. And I frankly don't think that there's going to be much risk if they try and do anything, but do we see any sort of power weapons here from the defending team? That's going to be the real big call. I would love to see maybe an auto shotty. I don't think Mop is really the best call here. I think, again, it would be best to save for Factory, but hey, we've seen crazier things happen from these guys. We saw the Mop firing squad in Factory. There's a reason why those guys do that. It works, And let's see. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be fairly close range stuff. So yeah, a lot of the defenders probably going to be sitting accounting, manager, security, and vault. They don't even want to try these long, dangerous hallways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. Even if you let lobby, get in the hands of the attack, I mean, there's still a lot they have to trudge through. I'm pretty positive, though, that at least a couple of players want to go around into vent, most likely, and then also still that door charge into lobby, so this is not a horrible idea. The vault door gets opened, and that actually allows for some bar to be placed, and Merchant to just kind of vibe inside a vault. Oh, he barely gets back out. Now he can be a huge factor throughout the rest of the round. Yeah, he just made the mad dash, and it barely worked out for him, but at least he will not be a sitting duck until the vault gets re-hit.
So we've got 3 here in the vault, excuse me, in loans. I was a little bit worried about Dylan because he was going to try and play in this really aggressive rat spot in loans, but thankfully he kind of backed off, which I like that call because he played a lot more cautiously and conservatively. Hey, Danger Doodles, you guys want to come in? Okay, there we go. Now they're starting to kind of work their way in very cautious. They're looking for something cheeky to happen here because of the cheese that they just pulled off on Factory. They're kind of almost half expecting a retaliation meme strat, if you will. But so far, so good. And it looks like our team, I don't know if... Yeah, okay, they did breach through entrance. They're just playing super cautious here. They have no idea where these defenders are. The good news is they've cleared hall. They didn't clear bathroom, but no one's in there. Lobby has been cleared. So now there's only a few other areas. And right off the bat, there's Ty falling again. Ty is going to show up for his team here. I'm a little bit worried he's not landing the shots that he needs. But so far, this attacking team has confidently kind of consolidated the defenders into manager or accounting. And now they're just waiting for the vault retake.
Yeah, this is just a brilliant hold so far by Kitura. They are forcing the hand of the Doodles so far. Flash pops them through. You're trying to get control of the counting here. Gravy will get that first one, make it a 2K. This actually is a huge breath of fresh air so far as the switch will now get hit. Gravy falls, though. They've reclaimed control of accounting, but now they have to worry about the vault itself. They've got that long angle to potentially creep their way in through, but they don't want to overcommit until that diffuser starts getting kicked down. But there goes the smoke. You could now possibly just hit it around the defuse, but no, they fall through the smoke. It's just Boom left alive. 1 versus 3 situation here. Will try to spray through the gas, but can't do it. He's not able to land enough shots to confirm a frag here, and there's no time left either. What a recovery there by the defense. They had a strong start and an even better finish to keep a majority of their players alive and win out a 4th round in a row.
2 key things there from the Danger Doodles. First thing, they took so long to get there. I mean, it was like, all right, guys, you cleared loans. Go. Just get in there. I mean, even if it's just throw a flash, try and clear the halls and get something going. They just took so long to get going. And then finally, once they got in, it was like, okay, now, you know, credit where credit's due. Kitura had 3 guys staring at the vault that were ready for that thing to get hit and ready to have this like Wild West gunfight, which never happened. And actually, oh goodness, my webcam.
Oh God.
They had 2 guys watching vault, 3 to watch the accounting, which, you know, turned into this bloodbath where, like you said, I mean, they didn't really get in there like they needed to. And then another key thing, Foom did recover the saber, so they did not lose their power weapon here as they go into C-Store, which is a big deal. I mean, again, when we were talking about this the first time, if you risk losing your saber on your first round, you're not going to have it in the 3rd when you need it for factory. And that again, we're talking about the you know, the server farms firing squad that we saw in the 1st round there, or the 3rd round there. That's a lot of risk. That is a lot of risk to take, but we didn't see that, thankfully. So here we are. We're on Operation Fox Praetorian again. The teams have switched. We're going to have Team Danger Doodles pushing in against Team Kitura, who, mind you, are currently up 4-0 against their adversaries, who they lost 7-2, 2 against them in the first set here. So again, an absolute reversal sweep. I mean, I think we were looking, you know, you and fellow, you were talking about in the chat when we were watching, you know, after the end there, some players were just saying GG. It's like, it's already over. Like, you know, Danger Doodles are just making a mockery of Kitura, but Kitura showing themselves there. They're making their presence known finally after, what was that, like almost 9 or 10 rounds of just kind of getting kicked up and down the street.
Yeah, it was a 9-round series for the first match, and then immediately out of the gate of match 2, it just appeared Kitura completely changed their entire playstyle and really just got comfortable against their opponents. Despite the fact they did not have a lot of time to, you know, go into a break, you know, calm their nerves down, they didn't really seem to care. They felt quite comfortable underneath all this pressure, and now it's basically against Danger Doodles to not get reverse sweep. Now the pressure's back on them, and we saw during the plan phase what kind of attack they're opting to go for. They want to just get down to business, a wall charge. Yeah, they want to just rush in and try to get that bomb control as quickly as humanly possible. I'm a big fan of it as well because there isn't a big emphasis here in denying the office push. They've got that default crossfire with both Jet and Loaf, but they're already starting to figure out if they want to fall back or not, and I really don't think they understand what's about to happen because of that wall charge. I don't think they were anticipating this, and this is honestly going to be a huge round so long as the attack can make this work, but Dylan gets 2 freebies essentially. Jet's there to back up as well. There goes the explosion, but it's far too late as the defenders have plenty of time to recover from this position. This is just a bloodbath inside of Tellers, and the flank by Merchant will get the last one of Boom. The plan, it looked great on paper, but the execution was flawed in so many ways. It's 5-0 now for Kitura. Nothing has been stopping them so far in this second match.
You can see the Kitura betters in the chat just rubbing their hands going, oh, baby, I can't wait to get me some points, man. That was just... They took too long. They took so long on their breach. As soon as one of the defenders went, okay, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you're all coming through here. Boys, we got to get ready for this. I was a little bit worried there with having 3 defenders in Tellers. They're like, okay, we got to do some movement. We got to figure out how we're going to get this doing. They finally got themselves going. They finally got some movement going, which is good. But they took so long. That wall charge, it finally happened. Great. But unless you are just conga lining yourself in there, you're getting all 5 of the guys in there, they're going to be ready. I mean, a wall charge is effectively either an absolute boon in your assault or a murder hole. I mean, it is a glorified door, so it can also be a funnel. And in this case, the entire attacking team opted, they had like 1, maybe 2 guys go through the funnel, which was fine. But then they all try to go into Tellers, which is an even worse funnel because now it's a long hallway. You got defenders easily able to turn that into a, like you said, a bloodbath, and they paid for it. Dylan, he's got a clacker now. That's a great little power play. You get Dylan, bottom of docks, that entire play is stopped. Now you can park your guys either in office, server farm, you're good to go.
Yeah, and I think there is still... Yeah, there's 1 charge available because they used one on Bank to get main. And then they used one last round of the wall charge. They have a door charge left, so they're probably going to want to go for a lights play. I would assume that's like a super direct take here. That could honestly be gigantic here.
But it won't work. They got Dylan with the clacker. Every time Dylan clickety clacks that clacker lacquer, you sit him right here, this door becomes a threat.
Yep.
Now just trying to get into the building is dangerous, let alone the people trying to shoot you.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see Marvel's talking about the risk. I love it. Oh, I love it.
Oh, man.
There's the safety smoke. Okay, there.
Little do they know what the real issue is here. It's that little button just waiting for it to detonate, and someone dies unintentionally.
No door charge used. It's going to be a 5-man conga line through servers, and look at this respect. The safety smoke. Good. I even if there isn't anyone there, they've got 4 of them. I think we've seen maybe 2 of them utilized so far. I do always just safety smoke. It's such a good call, especially when you're, terrified of something like this happening. Now, where is our mop? Jet with the mop, watching green. Actually in walkway on the lower side, so not in a very aggressive position, playing very passive to support his team.
I mean, I feel like Kitura, we've kind of witnessed them just be more comfortable when they go for fallback plays. So allowing some early map control, they don't really seem to care that much because they can hold these key angles. Unfortunately for Roach, his position is not good enough to actually win their fight against Ty. So that'll be the first pick here for Doodles. That's a great pick, but they need to make sure they're aware of the rest of the defender's position so far. They spot out Merchant early on because they're trying to go for a free fire here, but Gravy loses that fight. Merchant somehow remains alive. Not for that much longer though. Ty is quick on the draw. That's their second kill. Adaxing to the green door will get rid of Dylan, and now it's a 2-on-3 here, favoring the attacking side for once, and they've got lights control. That's great. They burned through Molly as well, still a minute to play. They could honestly try to go for a full rotation, maybe go up into the walkways and try to spot out Jet perhaps, as there aren't many angles that can be held by the defense that comfortably without receiving a lot of pressure here by the attack. There goes the flashbang. Lope is completely blinded here, but the aggression, it's not fast enough. One fire could be more than enough though. One fight is now lost. Boom just basically baited Ty, but it still works out, and Jet can't do a damn thing by themselves in the back of cargo. So it's gonna be the first round here, finally on the board for Danger Doodles. It took them 5 heaping rounds, but they finally did it.
I was absolutely terrified when I saw Jet had the angle on Marbles. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna do it. He's gonna murder Marbles. We're gonna go into a 1v1 situation, and then poor Foom has an absolute, the world on his shoulders. But they clutched it out. They didn't use the grenade. I was so worried because I saw as soon as Marbles got, or excuse me, Merchant got hard flash. I just want to point this out, how absolutely miserable it is to try and fight someone who is also on either equal levels of skill or better. When you're hard flash, not only is your entire screen white, your gun shifts like a mother, and you go, across the room. And then on top of that, you've got the entire team collapsing on you because, again, Merchant was left alone. He was in a 1v4 situation, and not only that, he traded even. He got tie, and so he actually was able to drag that out. So again, this Kitura team is fighting for every single round, and they are able to do it. I'm just so impressed to see this recovery from them. Again, Merchant, let's take a look at the stats here for just 30 seconds. Merchant going huge, 963 damage. Jet going huge, 946. Roach going huge, 660. Loaf going huge, 520. And Dylan, 351. Gravy, he's got 810. So where does he stack? Again, third. Their best player on Danger Doodles in terms of damage alone is third compared to Kitura right now.
Yeah, it is not been the best for Doodles so far. Again, I'm a little agitated that Foom went straight kill baited his teammate, but you know what? They won the round, so that's okay. They got their round on the board. They didn't get 7-0 by Kitura, so that's okay. We'll live to fight another day potentially. We're going into Kill House.
But I mean, still 7-1 versus 7-0. I mean, it doesn't really
that's
matter.
not much of a difference.
Yeah, it's you bloodied him. Hey, you at least you bloodied him. But I mean, here we go. C-Store. Goodness gracious, Kill House Operation Sinister Fang. You wanted a bigger map. We got a whole lumberyard now for some extra space, and I mean, it doesn't even look like they're interested in playing it. Which, frankly, I completely agree. You got lockers. You can push in. The biggest thing I think is going to be this little like gun skirmish here in patio. We do have the auto shotty, which I completely agree with. I mean, again, in office, it's an absolute cluster truck. In club, cluster truck. You've got all these absolutely like tiny little angles, and you've got this nice little ramp here, which if your auto shotty is playing smart enough, he can actually kind of bleed a little bit of damage here in the halls, back off, rotate, and then even potentially get himself into an advantageous position in either office or support kitchen. So really clean stuff that Jet can play here. Now, I like the defense. Okay, there's, again, safety smoke. You can see, okay, they know at least one guy's watching the window. Oh, they actually get tie. I think I got a couple rounds there. So, right off the bat, again, I like this play from Danger Doodles. They're playing defensive as they're trying to play aggressive, which is a very difficult thing to do when you need to be the one that takes the action.
Yeah, taking the charge here. Lockers will be the first point of action so far for the Doodles. No one's heard about them just yet. A couple wall bangs here and there. Nothing too much being done so far, though. An explosion will ring off near the green doorway. They're just kind of trapped inside the lockers for now. Unless they get some kind of wall bang pick, they are kind of just sitting in their own grave here. And there it goes. Boom gets the first one. Roach will go down. Merchant is here to take his spot, though. And you've got Jet to worry about, of course. Up close and personal with that full auto. This could be devastating. He finds one. Swings around for a second. He gets it. Boom will finally shut him down. But the damage, of course, Ghost, it's already been done. A Daxi will fall outside of the map itself. Boom making the mad dash here with the full auto, trying to make ends meet. He needs to get back up from Marbles here in this position, or this could easily be match point, and Marbles will win a critical gunfight against Merchant. And there goes the full auto. Dylan will go down. It's just low. He could maybe go for a wall bang potentially, but look at how well Marbles is playing around the bomb chassis. Boom with the last one with the full auto. We'll see a second round here for Doodles, as they're not done yet in this second match.
Can't spell doom without boom. Oh man. And what's wild is he picked up the auto shotty, paid for in blood by his team. And then again, like I said, he went for this little rotate, which Merchant fell on. I think it was a wall bang, but then Dylan wasn't ready for it. He was like, "Oh, you can come behind me? Oh no, that's not good." And then poor Loaf was having this like gun trade with the Daxi for most of that match, and he was like, "I did it, boys! Wait, you're all dead." Oh man, like what am I gonna do? And then trying to push in against an auto shotty has got to be the worst feeling in the world when he's got an auto shotty. When you got to go through these tiny little angles. I mean that just sucks. So great. I mean again, great play by Foom. Great awareness to utilize that and just kind of play like this aggressive shark swimming through each of these little angles and holes to kind of get himself into. So good heads up play, and here we go. Operation Thrust Release. So once you stab your opponents, you release, and you let them fall to the ground because they are dead. So here we go. Kill Dome.
Yeah, this is a very open kill dome as well.
Oh,
I think,
yes.
I feel like you can't just all funnel into beach here. You've got to get one of the red doors opened up here, and then you can kind of like re-rally yourself. So either go up to ruins or pit. Lights probably wouldn't be that phenomenal here, in all honesty, unless you're like unless you're clean with it at that point. So going near the back part of ruins, that's probably not a bad idea because you can get a lot of map control early on from there. It's right next to the bomb. You would probably just need to worry about someone maybe kind of vibing near either the logs area, the top of observation, or maybe even in swamp, or someone near the bridge towards swamp in case they swing out wide near pit. But that all depends on the defender position itself and if they're able to read into how you want to attack here.
I was gonna say, so it entirely depends on how these attackers want to roll in here. With the auto
Yep.
shotty, yes, I completely agree. They should definitely go for the again. This is a very open-ended, at least on this section of Kill Dome, very open-ended. They've got a lot of space that they have to try and close, which auto shotty isn't going to capitalize on. But you get your auto shotty here into observation. Oh yeah, no, that's a good day right there for the auto shotty. Um, what I tend to see, at least, and I'm not going to say that this is the gamer strat meta, is you normally want to have 5 beach because as long as you, again, at the end of the day, you gotta just defuse the bomb. That's the objective. You hold jungle, you hold, usually there's gonna be like a mop player sitting around here, and then you hold maybe the one guy that's gonna be hiding either in logs or by this red door. Once you've gotten that, you're pretty much clear. It doesn't matter who's sitting and watching pit. But again, Roche already trying to get in here and be aggressive, but Roche is extremely away from his team, and Jet's not even Jet's watching red. He's not able to support, Roche from this position.
Apparently doesn't need the help though. He gets the burst 2 off the bat. Almost all that ruins play is now forfeit. Gravy has to make the call whether he wants to fall back or not. It is just a sea of red. Ty, the last alive, wondering what just happened to my entire team. What do I do here in a 1 versus 3? As he gets 1. He's got some assists though from Jet. He team killed Dylan, but 1v3 and everyone just sit in the back of the map. They've got long range capability. It's not looking too hopeful here for the Ty.
Big tag. I would love to know why Jet decided to try and murder Dylan on that. Maybe he just started popping off too hard and he was like, no, these are mine. But
calm down, Dylan.
Merchant gets the clacker. Here we go again. Match point is where we're going to be heading into, and you can already see this is why I'm not a big fan of this, because again, one barbed wire, and as we saw on that match, it's just completely shut down, and then all you got to do is just hold down the angle and that's it. You're done. So very well played defensively by Team Kitura. Danger Doodles, they're just not feeling this set, and frankly, I think what they probably want to do at this point is just, hey, it's 6-2. We can go in for either. At this point, it's anyone's match. And I mean, Jet going huge, Merchant huge. Let's take a look. I always like to look at the opening duels because those can also be really key. And Dylan, again, 3 of his 4 opening engagements, meaning as soon as he saw someone and started to shoot them, he won 3 out of those 4 trades. So, I mean, that is phenomenal. That is absolutely huge. Ty, I've been seeing the guy's name pop up, but it's usually been on the losing side of the kill feed. So I'm very concerned that the Danger Doodles team just needs to kind of, maybe it's a bit more organization. Maybe they just kind of felt way too confident rolling into this. And after they lost those first couple, they just kind of lost the steam needed to just kind of finish out these matches. So I'm very worried for Danger Doodles. I mean, obviously they're on match point, but if they don't correct whatever it is that their communication is lacking right now, they are going to go into that third match or that third set not only defeated after what is going to be an extremely clean reversal. I mean, first it was 6-2 right now, but 7-2-1. Now it's 2-7 against them. That's tough.
I mean, it's just a lot of hard stalling by Danger Doodles, in all honesty. That's just been their biggest issue. Their plan doesn't go to fruition, and they don't know what to do. They don't have a fallback option. They just were like, all right, let's stick with plan A and hope for the best. It backfired. Well, now we don't know what to do. There was an example where Foom, of course, was able to like make some magic happen with the full auto. Yeah, but that's just that's the Foom law. That kind of is just an enigma of its own. You shouldn't really Yeah, you should not rely on that almost every single round. However, he might have a big part to play here because he has that full auto. So if he's able to get some close quarter engagements, it
Hmm.
could work out. But again, relying on the Foom's Law, that's not your golden ticket to success.
Well, it's what's gotten Danger Doodles here at least into the, well, actually I don't want to say the losers bracket because I don't want to say that's probably not a big boon for them, but oh, hang on a second. I thought that I thought it was Merchant picked up a cracker from last round. Maybe I'm going insane, but for some reason I recall them picking up a clacker to utilize. But either way, 4-1 split. Marble's going to be opening up manager here, maybe to apply a little bit of pressure. But look at this again. That stall, as you said, you were completely right about it, fella. They're just taking so long. We saw this last time with the other bank. Go. We know where they are, and it's not in, not in loans. Just start pushing. They're playing so passively, but it's going to take them 30 seconds just to get to the in-between here on bank. It's so slow. They're playing right. They're playing passive. They're playing, confident in they're going to secure security. Great. There's the entire rest of the map, though, you got to capture.
Yep, at least they'll get the switch. That's great. They've already burnt through a lot of time, though. Jet gets the first pick as well through the tarp, I guess you'd want to call it. The plastic paneling, I suppose, near the TSA. So that's good. Yeah, through the metal detector, I guess that's what I'll have to probably call it. The rest was a bit of a word jamble there, but that's still a huge step up. Down goes Gravy. So you still have to funnel in through hallway as well, because you don't have main control. And then you go into tellers. This is just going to be a huge kerfuffle. And now you've got Merchant playing inside of Vault as well. It's just not looking pretty.
Huge. It's already over.
Yeah, it's the Foom's Law. It's what we talked about here. And they're relying heavily on how well Foom can play here. Marvel swings into action, and he's just dive bombing into them and somehow gets two. This should be easy pickings for Foom, as Dylan is just staring into his soul, and Merchant is the only one left to try to make this one happen here. There's apparently another defender left somewhere. Oh, he's on the bomb chest. Of course, the bomb indicator was just hiding it from me, and they'll win it out. They just had two nice angles lined up in the back of Vault. The play worked out really well when Marble stepped in, but that was literally it. That was the only thing that went well for the attack, and then they still had to worry about the Vault.
Too long. They just took way too long to get in there.
Again.
I mean, had they maybe an extra 30 seconds, even that, to just go, okay, where's our utility at? Because I learned this the hard way when playing against Global Breakout. 2 flashbangs minimum to clear out Vault. If you don't have that, someone somewhere is going to be sitting in this absolutely disgusting rat position, and you're going to die for it. And well, that's, they didn't have any utility. There was a Molotov that slowed them down, and then it's like, all right, here we go. And they paid for it. I mean, they paid for it in blood. But talk about, like you said, a redemption arc, an absolute clean sweep reversal. 7-2 in the favor of Danger Doodles, now 7-2 in the favor of Kitura. What's going to happen for the finals? I mean, at this point, someone has to win. We have to see a team win. But man, oh man, let's take a look at the stats here. I mean, let's just read it off for me here, fellow.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 1,400, almost 1,500 damage by Jet. I was putting in some work in the matchup. And then you look at the bottom. I don't even need to name off the other the 1K plus club here for Kitura. Gravy, the top damage dealer, isn't even in 5th against Kitura. They simply were just having a heyday and doing God's work in match number 2. And even if we were to go back all the way to like match 1 stats, nowhere near comparable to what we witnessed right here. No. This is the Kitura you were hyping up earlier in the series, and we finally get to see them in action. So honestly, Danger Doodles, you really need to start playing your cards right, or you will just get flushed out of this series and dropped in the losers bracket.
Credit where credit's due, though. Again, Merchant 12-4. Holy cow! I mean, usually most players, I'm happy when I go just net positive, or net neutral for my matches. Look at these. Look at this. 9-7 on Jet. 12-4 again on Merchant. 6-5 on Sinister. 7-8 on Dylan. 6-5 on Roach. I mean, these guys were either keeping it extremely close, or they were just absolutely bussing. Gravy, Danger Doodle's best player was 4-9. Adaxi, again, you want to talk about absolute terror in casuals. I'm playing, I see Adaxi, I'm like, yo, I'll just disconnect. Forget it, man. This guy is 5-9. Boom. Again, MF Doom 8-6. Ty 4-9. Marble 6-7. I mean, these guys are just there again, you can't win a game if your entire team's dead, and if your entire team's dying more often than they're killing, you're gonna lose your matches. And I mean, that's simple, obvious logic, but we can see the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it is still a first-person shooter at the end of the day, no matter how tactical it is, you still
Hmm.
gotta win your gunfights 90% of the time. Can't always go for those big brain plays every single matchup. But we have another match to see who's actually gonna
Woo!
win this after a double up of 7-2 victories. Are we gonna see a third one? Potentially, but we'll go on a short little break, and we'll figure that out in a few short minutes when we come back.
See you guys in about 5 minutes. Bye bye. Also, I want to bring this up because I keep seeing it. Ty and Gravy, they show up for Danger Doodles, but they're really not giving us those absolutely gorgeous picks that those Twitch clips, that we're seeing from the rest of his team. Dylan, Loaf is a great support. Roach, I want to see the rest of these guys as well, kind of just making their presence known. They do that. I mean, it is literally anyone's race right now. That's why it's tied up.
Yeah, and going here already off the rip on a factory, I've got my concerns here. I'm wondering if we're gonna have a mop in play because there are some long angles you can
Hmm.
contend with, but not a lot compared to what you would normally see on a factory setup. So it is definitely a questionable option here. And at least for the attacking side here, it looks like Doodles, they're gonna opt to go around and mostly just try to get control of green. That's probably the best option here
Hmm.
because I'm never been a big fan of the red door all the way on the right, and then you can go to dock as well after you try to
Right.
bout your way in through green. But again, those are like only the two big points of contention here, at least in my mind.
Yeah, and a 4-1 split like this, I definitely agree. I think going for green, it looks like, let me just take a look at the players here. There is no NVG, so it's not going to be a power play, which is not the end of the world. But look at how this Kitura team is set up. They're expecting a red door, but it's going to be a green docks push. So not the end of the world, because when the dust settles, they should be in a pretty decent spot. My concern, though, is going to be these walkways and how they manage that. And look at this. I mean, we've got 4 boys sneaking in here into servers. They're going to go straight up to walkways. So it's really going to come down to Merchant and Jet, as well as Dylan, locking down these kind of really long angles here to make sure that they don't get any real damage. But they've been sneaking. Now we're gonna have to see how
Audio.
who is gonna push for this, as they're literally just stacking up on the doors. Like, guys, you gotta kick eventually. No, it looks like Foom's actually opted to migrate to boilers. Finally, we have some action, but Merchant shut. No, Ty murders the taxi.
Oh
Oh
no.
God.
That's not supposed to happen, Doodles! This is supposed to be your way of stopping the hero play. Gravy gets Merchant, so that's at least nice. I thought they were going to use the opening of the dock wall as like an audio bait, perhaps, but that just did not work out in the slightest. Fuma managed to get rid of Jet before they find a third on the round, and Marbles is just outside of dock, just his
Chilling.
players basically just all dying. Fuma's still alive. That's okay here. But you've got to worry about Dylan inside the container and the two stacking off the stairs.
Oh,
Dylan goes
God.
wide, down goes Marbles, and Fuma is the last alive. He's trying to bout with these long angles. He has a Tard, so he could maybe win a couple of these gunfights, but it's 3 full HP defenders against Fuma.
Man.
Yeah, that's not looking pretty, and neither was that push into server room. That was a horrible way
I
of
want to see
starting
if
this
Roach
third
is gonna
match.
snag the
Doodles.
saber. He's going for it. He gets it. Oh my! He's gonna go for the clacker too. Oh my God! And he gets it. Oh, this is going about as good for Kitura as it possibly could have.
Yeah.
First off, shout outs to Ty for helping out Kitura. I didn't know that he was a turncoat. That's pretty sweet. Second off, that attack was just, I mean, I don't want to say it was red, but those barbed wires just paid for themselves in physical gold. Again, Merchant being a great kind of initial pick, but again, shout outs to Dylan. He recognized that when his team was going after the Saber player at docks, he jumped for it. He was like, "Yo, you guys distract him. I'll get him." He got him, and then all that's left was Foom. Foom is a gamer. He'll kill people, but in a 3v1 situation where it is purely gun trades. Again, Foom's great on 1v1s, but 3v1s, there's only so many bullets that he can take before he becomes SpongeBob.
I think we've got the team names switched up. I was like, wait a minute. This doesn't look right. That's it though. Everything else is correct. The round win
Okay.
is in the correct place. All that fun stuff. Stats are correct. It's just team names. We'll get that fixed later. That's not
Well,
a big deal. I was
it's
like,
always work
I
in
was
progress.
having an existential crisis, and I was like, wait, what? And no,
The
I'm just
darkest timeline. They win even though they
yeah.
lose.
We're truly in the dark ages right now. That round, despite the lights not going out, that was really dark for Doodles because they played that one so poorly. Again, funneling and hard stalling. That's been like the two biggest points you and I have been talking about, and we have to keep bringing it up because we've seen no adaptation. It's the same
Correct.
mistakes over and
Correct.
over again, and Doodles they're just scratching their head wondering what's going on. What's going on, guys? Why are we losing so many rounds? Well, you're
Mhm.
playing incorrectly. That's why.
No, exactly, and that's what I'm talking about when uh, when I was watching the match versus Yakuza versus Kitura. My biggest criticism, and this was when I was talking with Shark, was who can adapt first. You got two teams that are absolutely gridlocked in terms of skill. I mean, we watched like two separate ties. Who can change and correct whatever issues or however the other team is playing? And we saw that from Kitura. They did it. They were successful. They won. Danger Doodles are just not adapting, and so they are going to die at this rate. Again, the first 3 rounds are absolutely huge in terms of momentum, especially when both teams have tied. And so this is do or die here for one team. One team is going to be on elimination for this.
Yeah, they'll have to be dropped down into the losers bracket, which I feel like both these teams could contend well there, but
Oh, they'll be
you'd rather
fine.
you'd rather just prefer to stay up in the winter bracket and not have to deal with all the shenanigans that go down in the lower regions here of the winter major. And it looks
The
like we got a
under
3-2
region.
split going
Oh,
in down.
Merchant,
Oh no,
babe.
there's Merchant. He's got the hero plays intact, and he's just gonna get aggressive. Does this work against Ty? Nope, it will not. In the background though, at least Jet will get rid of Adaxi as well. It's still a man advantage favoring the defense, and Dylan just swings uncontested. Boom is now dead, and Ty's just shaking his head asking, how did Foom let that happen? Why was no one watching the green door or expecting that? That is a huge blunder, and now Ty has got to go big essentially here.
They're saving. Now, Marvel's already backed out with the grenade. He backed off. Ty was they made the call probably about maybe 5 or 6 seconds ago. We're only 1 minute and 10 seconds into this
And
game.
they're saving.
And they're saving. I mean,
Jesus.
that is destruction of the highest order. And now I really do hope that these defenders kind of start sniffing out maybe some of these bodies. There is MPGs on them. And if we go on to a match where, they can play with power, that's a big deal. That is a really big deal for them.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to have anyone overextend and maybe try to grab some loot off the bodies of the attackers. Potentially?
Jet is praying that someone peeks on beach, and I really, Ty, please be careful. Please don't peek.
Don't overstay your welcome. You
Don't
gotta
do
commit
it,
to the
man.
save.
Okay,
You gotta
back
commit
off.
to the save. Don't get greedy. There you go. He knows it's too much. That's the better play. Dylan will actually go and step up in the pit, try to look for some loot. Yeah, I mean, the save, it was probably the best call, but, you should not have gotten to that position when the first minute didn't even drop yet. It's just like, what's going on, Doodles? What's happening
Well, and
here?
this is kind of the issue with pushing Pit this hard on Operation Razor Queen. It can work, but again, this angle, you got this angle. I mean, as long as you have some general confidence, it's okay. But because Beach didn't even get anywhere, it fell apart.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, this is the terrible thing that I see with the Moonbook crew occasionally, where we push in, nothing works. We get onto Beach, someone dies. We get into Pit, someone dies, and it's already a 3-5. What am I supposed to do? So you just call for the save, and you just pray to whatever flying spaghetti monster is above us, that the next match that the next map you get isn't gonna be as terrible. Because mind you, this is their attack, not their defense. Where I mean, attack is, I'm not gonna say it's dummy simple, but throw flashbang, make commitment, make sure it's a 2v1 situation. You should generally be okay. Where with defense, you're like playing 5D chess because you're trying to guesstimate where your team is going to be, where their team is going to be, and how you need to react accordingly. And we can see that already on the damage. Marbles hasn't even made a presence in this match so far. I mean, Marbles, their key player from last map, from the last 2 games, hasn't even shown up.
Yeah, that's a big issue. I'm yawning in the background.
That's a big.
This game's almost putting me to sleep.
Manga
Danger
ass.
Doodles, you gotta step it up, man. What's going on? Where was match 1 Doodles? Where have they gone?
This is
what kind of skin crawler has like infested your homes and have like taken you hostage? Like these are not the same people, man. What's going on?
No, exactly, and I think again those key things that we're seeing when Danger Doodles gets into their heads almost, we're seeing
Yeah.
they're playing slower, they're playing more passive, but they're attackers. They have to get in there and get some damage down, but they can't. They're struggling so hard to do that they're paying for it every single time. And Kitura is capitalizing on it. They're like, oh, you're
Yep.
playing passive? All right, hey, bleed 30 seconds. We don't care. We're on defense. That's our job. So
You got to come
thanks
to
for
us,
making
yeah.
it easier. Exactly. So very well done. Going on to Bank though, Operation Lance Resolve is going to be the last map for this quarter, if you will. We do have
Yep.
Jet on the Moppity Oppity, and they've got a Saber for their trouble. So it's a good day to
Oh.
be defending for Team Couture right now. And mind you, Saber's probably gonna be sitting somewhere either in Tellers because again, that is absolutely destruction. You could have him sitting this long angle because if they decide to go loans, that's destruction. You could have Jet watching a safer angle with that mop because I mean, heck, he could even be sitting in vault. Oh, what are you doing? You're putting your most powerful weapon inside vault and closing the door. Okay, I don't like that.
I mean, he could play all the way in the back and have like a nice long angle, but yeah, that's just like you're already in a 4v5 for like the like first 3/4 of the round. I think they're vouching heavy on the fact that they're almost 99% sure a lot of times it's gonna be wasted here by Doodles, but they're gonna waste a little bit of time getting inside
Oh
a
my
manager,
God,
but they'll
Dylan.
waste plenty of bodies. Dylan lines up 2 freebies, and the molly cuts off the other 2. So much damage already being done in the first 30 seconds of the round. Ty gets 1 in the middle of hallway, but
Dylan.
that's not going to be anywhere near close to the amount of damage that Dylan's done. He'll finally pay for his crimes with blood as Foom will pick up a 2K to their name, but it's still a man advantage, or even footing, I should say. Now it's officially a man advantage as Merchant will get rid of Ty. Foom getting control of Manager, but after all of that bloodshed, was it worth it?
The simple and easy answer is no. I mean, that's the easy answer, really. Check your corners. I mean, that is like, you know, playing due process 101. Dylan was sitting in what I would almost argue one of the most obvious. Well, yeah, of course. Why not? You need one to clear this barbed wire, and then another one to try and clear out bathroom because there's the first one. Now the question is, he knows that he's in bathroom. Does Boom chuck the nade in to clear bathroom, or is he going to use it? Okay, flash to bait bathroom. Grenade deep. That could be big.
Okay, it's out.
Boom goes for Sinister, and it doesn't work.
Good try, Foom. Not good enough.
Well, again, this is a case of it's Foom versus the world, and Foom's law does apply to almost only Foom. But what are you gonna do? You run in, your entire team dies to one guy, and again, I'm so confused by pushing for manager. What? Like, I can understand the logic if they wanted to avoid these long angles, but thankfully the Kitura team decided to lock off not only Sinister Loaf but their Saber, which I mean I've always had my reservations and I always vocalize my opinion that you never really want to do that because right off the bat it's a 5v4. Right off the bat you're giving away your Saber to try and defend, which okay, but wow, yeah, that's a 3-0. That's kind of hard. Marbles has played 3 rounds so far and has not done anything but die. Adaxi's got 75 damage to his name. Gray's got 100. Ty's got 120, and Foom got 345. But that's because he picked up 3 kills last round.
Yeah.
What you know, this to me is saying Danger Doodles is broken. They didn't spend this time to try and recover. And again, if you lose those first 3 rounds on a half when you're trying to rebuild your energy and your confidence, you're done. I do not see, unless Danger Doodles does something absolutely drastic or we have some huge pop-off by the team. Right now, they're kind of, the plane's burning. They were able to kind of recover a little bit. It's now on fire, and one of the engines has exploded. I do not see them recovering at this
Left
point.
wing destroyed.
They're kind of looking at like my stock portfolio for the past like 3 weeks. It's just down in red and pain.
Just try to look at it. It's just more bad memories.
Just close it.
Yeah, just cut your losses while you're young, you know, to maybe go back into it a little later in life. Anyways, Yeah, I talked about, mental being chalked and all that. I think that's actually a problem here for Doodles at this point.
Yep.
I was like jokingly saying it for Kitura,
Oh.
but it was like match one, and I was like, it's just, I call it match one shakes. Like, you don't
Mhm,
really do
mhm.
good on match one, but it's not a best of one, so you have time to recover.
Right.
Kitura has clearly noticed that, and they're just kind of taking the bag and running with it.
Yeah.
And Danger Doodles, they are just tripping at every crack in the sidewalk. They have not been able to catch up with Kitura throughout these entire double matches here. It's just, it ain't pretty, to be honest here. And maybe on the defense, this will be their saving grace, as now they no longer have to funnel as an attacking team. Now they can kind of play at their own time, I guess, at their own pacing. But that's still a lot to say without really a lot to back it up.
Marbles with the mop is a great call. He's watching the red door, which I don't think is the best move, but the fact that they're bringing out the mop, again, they have Kill Dome, large map, and Bank, super large map. They are putting all their eggs into this one basket, saying, "We will stop you." Here's the ball charge. You're going to be going for power, which is a great play, because now mop is useful, but it's a whole lot less useful. And so far, actually, these guys have been doing pretty good to dance and avoid each other, so I like that. The grenade didn't do a whole lot. It threw a barbed wire that wasn't there. So Boom is going to need to anchor, and so will Gravy. Now, hopefully when Roach and Sinister will have opened this door, Sinister doesn't murder Roach trying to push in. But I do like this repositioning here by the defensive side. They've stacked up, and so far they've been doing a great job at least containing the Kitura push.
Yeah, and they have no real way of rotating around, essentially. They would have to fully commit to either one place or the other, and they're just kind of doing this 3-2 split, and they're just backpedaling into their own setup here. Flash comes out. That's going to completely deny Gravy's position here. That allows them to find 2 picks as they line up, essentially. 3 instant frags here for the attacking side of Kitura. They are making minced meat out of Doodles here. It's just a Daxi, and he will meet the exact same fate as the rest of their team. It's a flawless round to start off the attack for Kitura, and now they could possibly pick up the mop if they're able to find it as well. This is not a brilliant start for the Doodles. It's just getting worse and worse as we dive deeper into this final series.
Okay, they are going to go shopping. I was going to say, I don't even know if they'll know that mop was pulled because, okay, Dylan's going to find it, I think more by chance, because Marbles didn't even fire the gun. I mean, their most powerful weapon wasn't even utilized, and I want to talk about the execution here for just a second. They flashed Gravy, knowing he was there, which then brought Ty forwards, because Ty needed to be, the flash cover for Gravy, which allowed Jet from Office to kill Ty and then allow them to jump in and secure Gravy. I mean, that is flawless. That is wonderful to see from them. That is just the kind of execution that we need to see from Danger Doodles, and except they're on the losing side for this. Click, click, click. Bodies are dropped, and the entire defending team died. I mean, Marbles, we are in 4
Wake up!
now.
Wake up! Get out of bed! It's time to play due process, man.
It's so heartbreaking because we've seen Marbles do amazing magical things, not only as a mop player or a saber player, but just as a team player in general. He hasn't even been in the game. That is how hard Kitura has absolutely shut down him and the rest of their team.
I mean, he's looking like me in my rank games, to be honest here. That's
He's
not
just
something
looking like
nice
me in
to
general.
either.
Yeah. The blessing of casting is you don't have to be down there and suffer the same fate as Danger Doodles, which is wonderful because we get to sit by little margaritas and not have to deal with it. When, man, I feel so bad because I bet those columns right now for Danger Doodles, they are not pretty, which is so heartbreaking because, again, all of these guys are absolutely gunning gods. I mean, Marvel's even breaking his, or I think it was Merchant, maybe.
Merchant, yeah.
Yeah, it was Merchant. Never mind. Merchant broke the D key, but kind of giving the D key over to the Danger Doodle team, saying, "Hey, I found your D. It's here on. I've got it."
Yeah, I mean, they really needed the W key to break or something, or even the S key, because we've seen a lot of fallback by Kitura.
Yeah, because all I've been seeing is them taking L's.
Oh yeah. And then for Doodles, they are hitting W way too hard, and it's not looking good for them. So it looks like we're going to have a reattempt here of like that 3-2 split, essentially. In all honesty, especially on like Kill Dome, I would rather prefer having everyone push one direction and then you rotate, because if you get full pick control, then you might be able to force the players in base to fall back because now they have to worry about that green door, and then that's when you push up into beach. The only issue is that you still have to worry about castle, but there's no mop. So it's going to be 10 times easier to clear out that one position. So if we see a flurry of people just flying through pit, that would probably make the lives of Kitura 10 times easier, but they still should have this in a theoretical win just based off of what kind of weaponry they've been able to bring over here in round number 5.
Personally, I like to see a 3-2 with jungle push, just because, I mean, obviously you got to deal with the auto shotty,
Yep.
but pit power is just always, again, you can see Ty's in a good position, Foom's in a good position. This is so far stacking up to be the best setup that Danger Doodles could have. Merchant's going to be the entry, good Molotov to defend, but here comes the auto shotty. It is creeping and it is lurking, ready for these guys to even try and get past this bar. Good smoke. Marbles is going to try and mag dump that beach. No, Dylan doesn't actually get the pick, and so Marvel's just going to run away happy as can be, as he didn't even take any damage on that. The pit guys, again, are trying to force their way through, but let's see if this, again, that flexibility and that awareness by the Kitura team recognizes that this, okay, they are going to pull completely away from pit. 100% agree with this call. There is no reason for them to be going for pit. They need to push into beach. They need to first off get marbles and then start trying to secure castle. There's two key things that I like to talk about on Kill Dome. That is castle and that is observation. Both teams need to either play around it or try and take it. And right off the bat, Merchant going to be trying to secure and clear pit. Ty doesn't even seem to hear him. That is absolute discussion. They do get, okay, so they are going to try and, that, oh my god, the rotate is so clean.
Yeah, it's just honestly beautiful work being done by Kitura. They even killed a Daxi in the top of Castle. The base player will fall as well. Marvel's now shut down. Gravy up at the top of Ruins has that full auto here, and he's just waiting for someone to push him, but no one's really going to bite the bullet here. They're just going to try to basically just collapse upon Foom, get rid of him, and now it's a shotgun player so far away from the bomb. It'll have to be a flank attended by Gravy, but so much has already been committed by this full auto player. It might be too little too late. However, the lack of information here, that could be crucial. They'll start to just bait down that defuse. They're not entirely aware as to where he is up until Jet shuts him down. So it didn't matter. That was, yeah, great adaptation and game sense in the middle of that round to realize what you needed to fall back on. That was much better done by Kitura overall. Not fully committed to pit like that.
We saw what Danger Doodles did wrong and how Kitura did the same thing but adapted. Like you said,
yeah,
they were going for pit. They realized it didn't work. So what they do, they took two of their guys away from pit and then pushed them through beach because they saw that there was some space. They could push for that. And then they just rotated them back into pit. So it worked. You know, it was great because they found Ty, who I guess didn't realize that because beach and the door were so close that they might just kind of, you know, go through that. And again, great just heads up play. I mean, the heads up play that we're seeing from Kitura has just been great. Hey, and wouldn't you know, Marbles is finally up there. He did get some damage, so now we have the entire Danger Doodles team up and ready to get some violence going. But at that point, we've already got Merchant, who's got 973. And I think if you take like the top 3 or maybe even 4 players for the entire Danger Doodles team, you'll equate to the amount of violence that we have seen from Merchant so far. So, I mean, goodness, Loaf is second. Their worst player in terms of damage, Loaf, is second place to Danger Doodles, who Foom, again, I mean, Foom is Foom, but he's at 435 and Sinister Loaf's at 350, just to give you an understanding of how despairing these statistics are showing.
Yeah, and also Marbles was at the bottom for the first 4 rounds, and then round 5 he just springs up out of nowhere. That's not a great sign, especially when you don't win that round. So it just, the odds, they're not looking good here for Danger Doodles. The stars are definitely aligning here for Kitura, and I mean, they're not slowing down at all, really. Their attacking strategy has been top notch. They've been able to be quick on their feet, notice when something's going wrong, and they fix it almost immediately. And that kind of quickness is so important, especially on a map like Bank. So I'm really concerned here for the defense of the Doodles, especially now they don't even have a full auto here for Bank.
Not the end of the world. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, and that's why I think we're going to be seeing like 4 or 5 barbed wires. I saw one already get dropped, so I think it's about 4 barbed wires getting utilized. I mean, the barbed wires effectively act as a slow deterrent, so that way, you know, you guys, oh, they're going to do the Foom strat. Okay, so it looks like they're also going to pay one man to the vault and hopefully they are able to utilize the same skill now. This time it's going to be Foom with no Saber, because as we had seen from when Kitura did the same thing, they had Loaf in there with a Saber, so that's not the end of the world, but we've got two guys here in lobby to try and stop this aggression. I love that Loaf has got the mop though, so this time instead of a Saber, it's going to be the mop. And oh my goodness, they are just, the attacking team is just working their way here. They're at the end of Hall already. Normally you would see the Hall is like this absolute bloodbath cave for the attackers to get in. Ty didn't even want to bother. He's like, hey, just go ahead. Dylan does not fall to Marbles, so Marbles is able to pick him up, and Roche and Gravy will eventually trade out in terms of bodies paid. So, hello sir, you're already in accounting, but they've got a wolf pack about to chase him down.
And they're not too sure about Mercy Legion up the middle now. He gets one. Ty trades back on the Jet here, and the Knack player will now be eliminated. It is only Foom left to defend with a whopping minute left on the board. The switch is now hit. He's got a Molly here, so he can bait for a little bit of time, but so does the attack, and they even have a flashbang as well. This is not looking great here. The Molly gets thrown very early on here, both them being exchanged essentially, so got plenty of time to work with here because of that. A flashbang and a smoke here. Boom, he's got to start praying to some sort of higher being because he's going to need a miracle to save him from a 6-0 sweep here in the first half. 30 seconds remain. Loaf is going around the entire map, maybe to pick up some utility. If that's exactly what's going to be. He'll go for a grenade, which could be massive here. Throws out a smoke for some odd reason. Just pick up the flash. I guess that explains it here. But they have wasted a lot of time because of that. Yeah, 20 seconds left. The flashbang's going to be a dud, but Boom still dies in that 1v1. Jet will manage to win a huge confrontation there, because honestly, Loaf wasting a lot of time in that situation. If Jet had jumped the gun and died to Boom, that actually could have been a round lost there for Kitura, but luckily it was not.
No, absolutely. And again, this is what I'm talking about. This was finally, I got a real world example of why I don't like having one guy in Vault. Maybe he could have clutched up. Sure, absolutely. I mean, he's Foom. We saw the dude go absolutely ballistic in a few rounds prior, but with him sitting in there, what did he achieve besides hurt Jet a little bit and die? You know, this is where I gesture with my hands, go, not a whole lot else. He could have been flanking, could have been rotating. He could have supported the team inside accounting. So instead of having 3 people chase one guy and die, he could have been sitting in manager. He could have been sitting in halls. He could have been sitting in security. There's just so many other things he could have been doing in that round besides sitting in vault, twiddling his thumbs. And I can never fully confidently agree with that kind of play. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, also the fallback going into accounting, that was the correct play, but they gave away all of lobby. They needed to have at least one guy making sure that mob player didn't get inside the building for free and picked up like a rifle to play for close quarters. Just a big oversight there by Doodles. And maybe if they had Foom alive, that extra player, maybe he could have been watching that instead, or just someone else could have been there at the wheel. Because despite the fact that we had a one-man advantage there for the Doodles, Foom was just sitting in the timeout corner basically the whole round, so it was on even footing. So it just was not the best play overall. And the only way that we would have had Danger Doodles win that round is by the mistake made by Kitura, which is something you shouldn't always be, falling back to. So
no, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the, again, I can't agree with that kind of call, because you're putting the burden of the mistake not on, you're not even able to put the burden of mistake on them, because now it's like, okay, well, we've given you the advantage. It's a 5v4 until you get to my bomb. And look, we've been hyping and talking about Doom this entire game because of how much of a gamer he is. Had it been a 3-on-1, I mean, come on, like he's a gamer, but you get two flashbangs, both corners. I like the Molotov throw. That was a good bait just to identify which side he was on. Now, had Loaf been in there, all the Jet had to do is throw a flash on the left. That forces him to go and play around the Molotov on the right. You've got Loaf there to cover, and then Bob's your uncle, you're done. But in this case, we're now here on Operation Dark Yankee, excuse me. I was about to say Valkyrie. We've got Jet with the Saber, so I'm assuming we're gonna see a wall charge in Dylan's hand. Marbles is gonna be trying to play this like behind the bomb kind of thing here. But let's see, where is this wall charge? Is gonna be on the corner here, so they're gonna be watching this long, clean angle, so that way avoid anyone on the rotation. Gravy's gonna be in a good spot to try and hold for maybe a really spicy fight. I'm really curious to see how he's gonna do this. He might just go full cannonball on this, but no, he's gonna actually get forced away by Merchant.
Yeah, the molly gets popped though. A little bit of time being wasted, so now you can maybe rotate around to better counteract this shutter play. Surprised that no one went around to go freezer as well, because you could probably overcommit on this round because it is technically the last round if you win it. But I guess we'll see a bit of a safer confrontation here. The rush comes inside and Tellers. That molly not working out in the slightest. Adaxi almost falls here. Still a 5-on-5, and yeah, that auto shot, you got to worry about it. It's so close to that diffuser. Dylan will now be dropped. Merchant's there on the trade though, and Ty barely gets inside a bathroom. That was too close to call. So we're in that 4 versus 4 situation. Merchant on incredibly low HP, and we'll try to bait that diffuser. Gravy goes wide, but gets caught on the bomb chassis. Diffuser goes down. No one's here to cover, but Boom perhaps he's still stuck inside a freezer. Here comes the swing from Tellers, but it's not good enough. 2 versus 2 now. Boom and Marbles, the last 2 alive to try to keep their team alive here for Danger Doodles. They have the health advantage, and they can still play for time and that diffuser rate because Marbles is still inside of Tellers and has that long sight line to play around potentially, but that's a Jet to not win this 1 versus 1, and he's not going to land the marks in time. He had the Saber there in that situation. Not the best weapon to go in such close quarters confrontations here, and now Loaf is just kind of twiddling his thumbs between Arcade and Fridges, trying to wonder how he's going to win out between this tag team crossfire. Boom is just playing so passive in this position and wins the 1v1 against Loaf. We finally see a win on the board for Doodles, but it has taken way too long for that to happen.
They have to play perfect for the rest of this match just to tie. That is what they're playing for, a tie right
and go to
now,
another series.
Yeah, just to get into another, exactly, just to play another round. That's, I mean, it's on Kitura to throw at this point, frankly. I want to point out, because this is one thing that I saw. I don't know if they arced it perfectly or just because of the Molotov spread. I think it was Merchant who threw a Molotov to clear out some of Tellers. And I was just like, wait a minute, I think he lobbed it perfectly to get in there. And I was so impressed by that. But yeah, Gravy, oh, that's heartbreaking to see the poor guy. He got caught on the chassis of bomb, and then the barbed wire slowed him down. Now, of course, we did see that great rotation flank from the defending team, from Danger Doodles, as they came in, they found the 2 guys looking the wrong way, and then it literally just became this poor situation for Sinister, where he's like, well, I gotta do something. I have to win. First off, he has to win a heads-up fight against one of the 2 players, one of the last 2 defenders, and then do that with no utility, which makes it even more miserable, because just to try and get to some of his buddies means that he's going to be checking all these angles in these corners. So, I mean, we finally saw Danger Doodles not only play cohesively, but they were also spread out enough where once the collapse happened, they were able to consume one side. In this case, it was the west side for the attackers, and then reorganize themselves and play around the bomb to make, again, Sinister into this absolutely untenable situation where he had to pick one side, and in this case, he picked wrong because he found Foom.
Yep. Boom's Law.
Boom's Law, baby.
Harping on that trope way too long. So is Danger Doodles, apparently. Now we go into Kill House, where I believe Kitura wanted to go for something like get opened up the club door and then also go into reception. That's not a horrible idea. You don't have to really funnel into hallway to go into reception. You just go around through lockers, but it looks like the defense will still have that taken care of as well, with a couple sets of barbed wire here and there. So this is not a difficult position overall for Kitura to win, which is why I'm a bit worried for Danger Doodles. I mean, unless they just want to throw at this point, they really should be trying their hardest to deny both that club position and also stall that reception area too.
Well, Operation Orion Banner kind of, it's got this really nice long bar place where Ty, as you can already see, is kind of sitting there. And I like the setup. You got Marbles watching this red door who, if push comes to shove, all he's got to do is really just rotate, assuming that there's no wall charge, which obviously, since they used it on C-Store, they don't have to worry about some crazy thing back. Gravy's in a good jump spot. Daxy's going to see the entire thing. They should be communicating this, and he's going to try and run away. Hopefully he gets into a good back spot, but no, he's going to continue to get in this heads-up fight. And he stays alive, but now it's going to come down to him. Adexi gets one. Hello. Okay. You take those, and now Boom's gonna back off. So now the plays are becoming interesting. Gravy also trades out, and so far this is going pretty good here for the defenders.
Yeah, but now Dylan has the full auto because Gravy was just caught out in no man's land, essentially. Wallbangs are being shot through Kitchen trying to get rid of Foom, but they're not going to connect to actually get rid of him. Marbles lands a brilliant shot on a Roach. A smoke will go down, but it's far too late. That will cover the rush, though. Maybe they can try to isolate Marbles, perhaps. Foom jumps into action at the right time. Ty's still in the back of Bar as well. He gets rid of one. There goes the full auto. He might need to switch weapons here, though, as you could probably try to play for range with both the Mop and Long AK in the hands of both Marbles and Foom. And there goes the Wallbang with the Gat out of all weapons, too. There we have it. A second round here for Danger Doodles, but how long can they keep the ball rolling? That's the big question here.
Dude, someone check Foom for walls. What the heck was that, man? He literally just stood there and was like, you know, this wall looks a little yeah, you're dead now. All right, cool. Marbles, you know, finally landing some great shots with the Mop was great. I want to point out, Ty was sitting in the back ratting behind that bar for probably a good 10 or 15 seconds while the attackers came in, and then just picked, got some damage, was able to trade. And again, for the defender side, usually it's a lot easier for the defenders to trade neutral. As the attackers, you always want to trade positive, as in get a kill, maybe get a little bit more damage done, and then die. Where the defenders, they're happy to trade because as soon as you create either a one-on-one situation, you're going to always be in an advantage because the attackers have to defuse. So we're finally starting to see the Danger Doodles wake up. Now, what scares me though is I don't want it to end on a 7-2, because then how do you summarize the game? Well, it was 3 matches that ended 7-2. Who won? Well, we'll have to see here at the end of this. It's going to be Operation Jackal Fury. It's going to be a factory map. So again, big long-range maps. And I do want to point this out because Jet did bring the Saber for C-Store. This is going to be the first time where I think we can comfortably say Marbles with the Mop is going to have the advantage on the attacking team, because Gravy did pick it up. So we're going to have both power weapons here on the defender's side on a big map, big gun, big power for the defenders.
Yeah, they're going to just have range as their best friend, really.
Yep.
For
absolutely.
factory. So this is a huge net buff for him.
It's looking like it's going to be an office server farm, which is pretty standard, I'd like to say. I mean, sometimes you'll see them go for like this long red door kind of push to get power if they had their ranged weapons. That's obviously not going to be the case here because they don't have those anymore. Plenty of flares just in case. Let me just check with our attacking team. They do have NVGs, so my guesstimation here, they're going to open server, they're going to try and breach office, but then they're going to want to have one guy rotate and hit power so that way they can try and mitigate. But here's the thing, Gravy's got the Saber. So you park my man Gravy here watching this blue door or just trying to watch, storage. He's got vision. He will be able to see, obviously, with the Saber giving you vision through the dark. He can still be a power player, excuse me.
Yeah, so this is... Honestly, everything's looking great here, at least on Factory. You always need to take into consideration, though, after this round, what are the cards going to look like here for Danger Doodles once again? Because this does look to be like a really strong round for them, unless we have Kitura just pull some magic rabbit out of their hat or something and just end up sweeping this out to a third 7-2 in a row, which would be hilarious. But I'd like to see more bite back by Danger Doodles, of course. Server farm, now in control of the attack. They can begin to trudge their way forward, but obviously Danger Doodles, they were expecting this. They are just playing these passive angles. They almost wanted to give away that part of the map for free entirely so they can just hold down these long angles. I do not blame them in the slightest because, again, Saber and Mop, range is going to be their friend here, and trying to hold off this for as long as possible will probably be their friend as well, just to burn through more time, really force that diffuse play perhaps, and Ty already gets a big pick. Down goes Jet. The rush is being attempted inside of office, but they didn't do anything in there. And yeah, like you mentioned, Ghost, they didn't spot out Boom. He gets a 2K off the rip, make it 3. Boom's Law is in full motion here, as Dylan is the only one left to stand alone here for the attack. I mean, we talked about, though, this was a very stacked defensive round win here based off of weaponry and sheer positioning by Danger Doodles. It's going to be up to them to win another 3 in a row after that miraculous, or pardon, masterful round win, my mistake, to make sure they can go to an entire other series after a tie.
I want to point this out because this is the exact same thing that we were giving Danger Doodles some heat for about checking their corners. We saw back on
Yep.
the first map with Bank and Auto, the auto shot getting used. Checking your corners, that is basics 101. They threw the flash, and I watched Foom because I got onto his POV. He sat there and waited. He was like, "Okay, you don't see me. Let's just go ahead and jump." And took one, not two, but three. Oh baby, a triple. Oh yeah. So Foom, the Foom effect in full swing there, getting himself onto the board. And again, Foom, I have just been watching. He has just been climbing it for his team. And again, this is just showing the absolute gamer breadth that this man is pulling for his team. 9-6 currently. The closest other person is Marbles, who has been using the Saber and Mop the entire game, is only at 6-5 for their team. So Danger Noodles, we can finally start talking about them because they're doing things. We're finally getting to see them. Kitura, I don't know if it's maybe because they're not a big fan of these maps. Maybe it's just they were kind of waiting to play on the defensive side, and now that they're able to, play on the exact same maps as they've seen, they've gotten a chance to kind of understand, play them a bit more organically, throw some ideas at it. Now they're going to be on the defensive side, and so now they can kind of plan around how they want to try and secure one. They just have to do one, fellow, to get themselves
Yep.
over this hump and win this series and throw Danger Doodles into the losers round.
Yeah, no, I think you were at the first time losers bracket, but
Losers bracket. Okay.
it's the same thing. Potato, potato, same thing. Not even
Mhm.
potato, potato. No, we're going real basic here.
Real base.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be the long con game for Danger Duels, of course. Again, they're on the uphill climb here, trying to get to overtime and then play a whole nother series to win. That's some huge stakes here. So they can't overcommit anything on one round where, for the defense, in theory, they could do that if they want to. Are they going to here, though, on C-Store? It doesn't look like it, unfortunately. I really don't know why. I mean, I get it. If they do win, then that's a big upset, but
Mhm.
you only need one round. I
Yeah,
feel like
no,
you can get away
absolutely.
with that.
And I mean, a pretty moderate investment is what is the phrase I'll use here. They do have a KR and the silenced Gruber as well as Egmar, so nothing too powerful. No auto shotty that we saw from Danger Doodles, when they were playing on Grave or anything like that. But a different wall charge position. Again, I was talk about it. You got different teams, you got different ideas, and great flash, low position, completely annihilated. Great shot to Barber. Tries to dive in and dies. A tie as well. So right off the bat, as the dust settles here for these teams, we've got Kitura in an extremely favorable position. The Danger Doodles down a ton of health on these attackers.
Yeah, they just smoked two players just trying to rush past Bridges. Dylan with 3 on the round. He's going big here for his team. They want to confirm that they don't want to go to a fourth and final match here against one of the better teams here in this division so far. The teams are now being kicked off. Gravy's trying his best to at least try to get this 4th round as a win, but he's got to worry about those long range and now close range engagements as well. Jet swings wide. He denies the ace essentially, but guarantees the win, as we won't see a 7-2 victory, but it's basically the same thing as
Same
Kitura
thing, but
take us
different.
out of the match 7-3.
Congratulations to Kitura for, I mean, again, that first round, I was sweating bullets for those guys. I was like, man,
Oh
they're
yeah.
good. They're good players. I've seen them do miraculous things, but that one looked rough. And then they just gunned it. They're like, all right, boys, we get them. Let's send it. And they, again, another
Yeah.
day at the office for Kitura.
Well, I
Let's
didn't
take a
think it
look at
would
these stats.
yeah.
So excited.
It's stat time. We got to
Oh,
go look at
baby,
these,
baby.
man.
So
Foom.
right off I want to point this out. Even though they lost, Adaxi had a 3-for-3 opening duels. For every engagement he had, he won them. I mean, that's so powerful.